Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Got some updates in the news. We're going to talk about Buffalo reopening its store tomorrow, Friday, July 15th, 2022, a span of 63 days from the shooting. Of course, I was just in Buffalo educating about the ritual of 63 with the mass shooting at that store on May 14th. We're going to look at that and how it comes 322 days after Kathy Hochul's 63rd birthday, who's from Buffalo. Of course, she's the current governor of New York. And then we're going to go back and watch a little bit of the footage from when I was in Buffalo. I want you to see the interaction I had with the Black Lives Matter protester where I taught him about 63 and the ritual, and then what he said back to me. But shout out to Nathan, Disambiguation. He did a little research, and he found out that that same man, the Black Lives Matter protester representing the 757, that he's got a reputation online, this man. And lo and behold, his name in Gematria, Jafari Jones, equals 63. And if you missed what I ended up showing about this guy after we ran into him, again, more evidence of exactly what I was saying. This was a chosen agent to be at that store to add to the chaos and the hatred and the division. Again, the sign he left there was hate, hate. That was his sign that he left at the tops. And then today, really great observation from the community. We got to talk about Donald Trump, who again ran against Hillary Clinton, who cut the ribbon when they opened that tops, and the shooting happened on her 201st day of her age. That number that shows who's in the club and who's not. Earlier today, we talked about how Trump, his first son, Trump Jr., was born on the 201st day of his age. And what the community realized is that Trump's wedding on April 7th of all days, 77, was put on. The leader of the ceremony was Norman Vincent Peale, whose name is 201, in the Marble Collegiate Church for another 201. And again, we know that's the number of the club. And it's making more and more sense with him and Baldwin and all the 201 rituals. It's just funny as how time goes on, how more and more builds up. And then just yesterday, I was talking about how the supposed illegal immigrant that raped a 10-year-old who was trying to get an abortion, and now today the Attorney General of the state of Indiana is investigating the abortion, which reportedly happened in Indianapolis, 201 town. And remember, the case that just overturned Roe v. Wade, the name of that case equals 201. And then we got Ketanji Brown Jackson a week later, the first black female Supreme Court justice after the Jackson-Dobbs decision. And she was nominated 201 days from her birthday. Anyway, we'll get into all of it. We'll make sense of all of it. But after we get through this, we're also going to get in contact with Angel Baby and on the ground with Tara. They're actually together right now in Uvalde, Texas, and they had a live streams going tonight in Uvalde. So they're going to give us the latest from Uvalde, and they just sent me a really interesting image from Uvalde. Actually, I just put it up on my Twitter page before we get into any of this. Of course, you know Uvalde happened on the 144th day of the year. Uvalde happened on the 144th day of the year. This town's right there from Uvalde. We've been talking about Highway 83 in light of Murder by Numbers, the song by The Police, coming out in 83, how killing's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3, and murder equals 83. But, yeah, what are the odds those two numbers are together? Again, that shooting where the police stood down, 19 officers standing down, allowing 19 children to be killed. And again, you look up the lyrics to Murder by Numbers by the band The Police, it all starts to make a little bit more sense. But anyway, right here, Buffalo mass shooting. So I was just in Buffalo for a week educating about the code of Gematria and how our government operates by this code day after day, putting the same numbers on the same type of rituals. We've talked about 63 and racism rituals so many times, but recall that shooting was May 14th at the Tops in Buffalo. They're reopening the store tomorrow, July 15th, 2022. That means from the shooting to the opening of the store is a total span of 63 days. And again, in Gematria, Buffalo equals 63, so does racism. And the shooting happened 2 days after it was announced that the Bills will open the NFL season against the Rams, who won the Super Bowl. And this is going to be the Bills' 63rd season. And where Buffalo's 63, Buffalo Bills is 117. And the shooting was exactly 117 days before the season opener on September 8th. And again, Kathy Hochul, who's the governor, she's from Buffalo. She's 63 years old. Byron Brown. Let me see if he's had a birthday since then. He was 63 when the shooting happened. No, he's still 63 as well, Byron Brown. His birthday is September 24th. Oh, the mayor of the town, 63. Kathy Hochul, the governor, who's from Buffalo, 63. It was all synced up with Kathy Hochul. And notice, 322 days after her own birthday. Remember, earlier this year, I was out at the Kroger in Washington State where the mass shooting was, talking to them about how the last Kroger shooting was on March 22nd, 322. And then the next Kroger shooting was 322 days later. And not only that, but with regards to the Bills, named after Buffalo Bill, he's known for the record Pony Express ride that was 322 miles long, 322, just like how they're opening the store 322 days after Kathy Hochul's birthday. You know? The rituals, over and over. Same numbers over and over. And I just noticed that thing up there on the Buffalo Bills stats. The Bruce Smith. What is that all-time AV leader? What's AV? I don't know that football stat, actually. I just see the 201 right there. The current owner of the Bills, what's his name? Paguli, whatever his name is 201. Sean McDermott's name is 201. That's the coach of the Bills right now. And again, the mass shooting on Hillary Clinton's 201st day of her age, which matters because she was there for the ribbon cutting ceremony when they opened this store, that it was a big deal. And they opened it on OJ's birthday. And again, OJ used for the racially divisive PSYOP. And the OJ Simpson crime scene was found in history on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. So you got to say, what are the odds? What are the odds of this? You know? And then with regards to Jafari Jones, or let's just go back and watch, being at Buffalo. What's funny about Tara and Angel being tonight together is they sort of met in Buffalo. We met Tara in Buffalo, and then Angel had to go back to Texas the day of the shooting, and then Tara was going down to Texas that day. But anyway, it's just interesting how they're linking up now. Anyway, Jafari Jones, if you're out there, again, the reason your agent ass was sent to the shooting on the 134th day of the year, again, you represent the 757. 757 is the 134th prime, the shooting on May 14th, the 134th day of the year. You're from Williamsburg, Virginia, which equals 134, which is where Thomas Jefferson went to college. The shooting was on Jefferson. Remember, Jefferson was killed on 7/4, like the shooting was on Israel's 74th birthday. That's the real white supremacy, the reversal of the historical facts. But where Thomas Jefferson went to school, again, the College of William and Mary, that's in Williamsburg, Virginia, where this guy was from. And here, I just I want you to see me talking to this guy about 63, and I want you to see how he reacts. Here, let me do a little adjustment on the audio settings real quick. Let me see. Okay, we got to switch this over. All right, and then we're going to go back and we're going to play this little clip. Again, if you missed the live streams when we were in Buffalo, there's several of them. There's a real long one from the first Saturday that we were there, which was 1 week after the shooting. But yeah, he was one of the first people I talked to, and it ended up being like a 7-hour live stream. But I talked to him right at the 20. I started talking. Well, here, I'll just play the whole thing. I'll just play the whole interaction with meeting this man. Here, we'll just go right here just before we met him, and we'll just play the whole thing through. But you'll see that I talked to him about 63. Just watch how he reacts to all this. Here we go. Let's engage with the this gentleman right here. How you doing today? Do you mind sharing what brought you out here today?
I'm here to stand in solidarity with the families. I'm just already president of Bill. I'm 757. So we came here from Virginia with Bill and RBH to comfort the families and see what we can do as far as seeing what justice looks like and seeing how we can help assist.
Absolutely. Good for you for coming out from your community. I came out from Washington State also to educate. I have a book about the contrived race war that's being waged by our government and our media, trying to divide us all against each other. Care to learn something today?
What do you mean? Learn something?
What really happened here at this Tops grocery store?
What do you mean, learn something?
The evidence of the government being behind this ritual.
You have some type of concrete evidence?
Oh, 100%. Because I got books about this. I've been educated about it every single day for 9 years straight, the way the government works by a code. You know Kathy Hochul's from Buffalo, governor of New York? She's a Buffalo native. And there's a very simple code. Every time there's one of these mass shootings that's racially divisive, it's always synced up with the mayor and the governor and the state it happens in. And the way you can see through the knowledge, or the way you can see through the ritual, is by understanding the code they work by, which comes from Kabbalah. It's called Gematria. It's the simple practice of coding numbers into words. And if you write out Tops friendly markets, it sums to 263 in Gematria. This shooting came exactly 263 days after Kathy Hochul became the governor. And the number 263 is the 56th prime number. And that matters because this Tops grocery store was opened on O.J. Simpson's 56th birthday. And the shooting happened exactly 56 days before his upcoming birthday. And of course, O.J. Simpson, who played for the Bills in the 90s, they tried to get people racially divided among his trial. This number 56 in Gematria, if you spell out Black Lives Matter, it equals 56. If you spell out Washington, D.C., it equals 56. If you spell out Society of Jesus, it equals 56. They code this number 56 into every last one of these rituals they do. George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, right on down the list. Rodney King, all of them over the years. And think about it, the Rodney King thing really kicked things off in the 90s. Then you got the O.J. Simpson trial right behind it. All of this stuff is an ongoing story by the same repetitious pattern. And that's what the media and the government is, you know, nonstop with the stories that are agendas because they want us divided. It's that phrase, united we stand, divided we fall. What else is messed up is the word racism equals 63, like the word buffalo. And Kathy Hochul's 63 right now. The mayor of this town, Byron Brown, is 63 right now. And this shooting happened 2 days after they announced the Buffalo Bills are going to open the NFL season. It's going to be the Bills' 63rd season. And if you write out Buffalo Bills, it equals 117. This shooting came 117 days before the Bills opened the season. The shooter was born 19 days before they opened the store. That's 6,903 days from the day he was born to the day this shooting happened. That's the 117th triangular number. And where Buffalo Bills is 117, so is Central Intelligence Agency. This might sound like a lot of information, but this is how the government works every single day. When you learn this simple code, which really is elementary, you can see how all of this stuff is being planned and plotted by our government and executed against us. And they want people taking sides, you know?
So do you, you like sell this?
We don't sell it. We just put the information in. I've made my books free to download.
What do you identify as?
How do you mean that?
Black, white, Hispanic.
Oh, in terms of race, as a human being, you know. I mean, they want us to identify amongst race, right?
So what did you identify with?
I mean, if I had to check the government form, I guess I would check white, right? Yeah.
And so you're putting this information. How many subscribers do you have?
Well, I get deleted all the time. I've had 100,000 twice, and they deleted me. I'm up to my biggest show right now is 80-some thousand. I'll get deleted again. I mean, I've been deleted 20-some times, so it's hard to get the word.
So my problem is, you come out here and you put your camera in people's face, in lieu of a tragedy. This is a black struggle, a black problem. You spend a lot of time putting together numbers and words to make them add up to stuff. But this is a black struggle, and this shit ain't nothing for your little YouTube channel to make money off of.
Oh, we're not trying to make any money off of
that. I just let you talk to get viewers off. And so this is the problem with media. You yourself are exactly what you're explaining. Because I came here from Virginia to comfort these family. You came here for views. You're gonna get paid off these views. Your TikTok, your YouTube. Don't nod your head. People don't just create content and not get paid for it. You get paid from TikTok. You get paid for Reels. You get paid for Facebook. And so you get paid to depict the black struggle. You have no idea about anything what it's like to be black in America. You have no idea what it's like for this massacre to happen here. All you did was came here for some views, and it's fucking sickening. And I only sat here to entertain you because I'm a gentleman, but I'm gonna get out of here, and you should fucking think better and more about what you're doing, and reconsider, and maybe donate to a black cause. Do something actually worth it, other than trying to get views to the different black people every day since fucking 1619.
Sir, if you do want to check out the work, just understand.
Check out shit.
Okay. Well, that's taken by the psychological operation right there. He was happy to have cameras in his face when he was telling this story.
Donating, you could go straight to your community and help people. There's about 10 different people that have asked me for money so far. I gave some lady enough money for lunch. You could go straight to your community. What? Nobody can still answer the question, where those getting love funds? Why are the founders buying houses in white neighborhoods that they talk so bad about? But we can't get into that with certain people that are hostile like this. You could go straight into your community and make a direct effect on at least 1 or 2 people's lives right now in the next 5 minutes. But donate to a cause. All these philanthropy organizations that are all money launderers, period. They don't go back into the communities, period. But you can't talk to people like this.
And that's Angel Baby right there. Again, we're going to hear from Angel Baby in a little bit. Her and Tara are getting back from the scene in Uvalde. They got to gas up and get back to where they're staying. But they will join us shortly and give us the update. If you didn't watch the Buffalo coverage, that was day one of being there. That was Saturday. The next Sunday, the day after that, it was rainy most of the day, and then it cleared up. I forget, maybe like 2, 3 in the afternoon. It cleared up, and we probably stayed out there till about 8 p.m. But near the end of the day, well, there's a few things. Let me see if okay. So this is the thumbnail for this video, right? This was the highlight of the video on day 2. We didn't get to go as long day 2 because most of the day was raining and nobody was out there. But we had this little girl came out. She was so well-spoken, and she expressed all her thoughts about the shooting. And if you haven't seen the video, she's definitely worth watching. But what was funny is the same Black Lives Matter protester was right by while I was interviewing this little girl. And then after I got done talking to her, he went up to her and he gave her the Black Lives Matter flag to carry around. He was like, he was like trying to combat me. And I mean, a little girl, she doesn't understand, Black Lives Matter, but he's there to divide. And again, the sign that guy left at the scene was hate. And again, don't forget the word hate has Gematria 74, just like how it happened on the 74th birthday of Israel. The same number they code over and over in white supremacy related shootings because white supremacists is 74. But anyway, this little girl, she was the highlight. Then he had to come over and hand her the flag. But later in the stream, I'm talking to a group of people, and it's like right around.
The lady of Black Lives Matter. Right. That's why I don't want to.
His content. He is only here to fan the flame. Do not feed into his bullshit content.
Hold on. I gotta ask this gentleman something. Do you agree with what he's saying about me right now, sir?
Yes.
Why?
Can I
tell you something you don't know about?
So if you can't figure out what's going on, I just brought it into this part of the stream, but I was talking to a group of people and sharing the knowledge and information, and then all of a sudden he gets behind me on his megaphone with that Watt sound, and then just starts drowning them out, saying, "Don't talk to this guy. He's just here to exploit." And it's like, exploit, man. All I'm doing is sharing information about this code, which is so redundant. And, I'm there teaching them about 63 in racism, 74 in killing, the Jewish code in 74. Look at what you get on 74, a mass shooting blamed on a Jewish rapper, on Post Malone's birthday. Post Malone has a tattoo on his face that says always tired. This guy had a tattoo on his face that said awake. Anyway. This guy, there was other things that weren't captured on camera, but I mean, at no point was I ever rude to this guy, and it was just obvious. And I mean, it's not the first time I've dealt with Black Lives Matter, but everywhere you go where these Black Lives Matter agents are there, they're not there to bring anything positive. They're just there to start shit and bring essentially hate, division, and racism. I mean, that's all they're doing everywhere. So here you can watch him go on his megaphone. Tell the woman takes it from him. Watch this.
Okay. I'll respect that.
My fucking numbers, and my numbers will tell you how to stop white supremacy. My numbers will do it.
See, he's making fun of it, but again, look, it's like, all right, I'm there teaching everybody about 63. Now what? They opened the store up. Where did it go? Well, again, it turns out he's Mr. 63, which I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine it. But it's a reminder, when these people do their rituals, they make sure everything that is relevant to it is coded out, matching in uniform. But again, I mean, we're teaching all about 63. He's one of the first people to get the lesson as soon as we got on the scene, taught him about 63. And now they're reopening the store, span of 63 days. I mean, come on. And here we are in the 9th year straight of teaching this, and how sports and news are all synced up, how it's all rigged and scripted together, why we've called so many championships, college and pro, way before they've happened. Sports and news, all scripted together. And here, just to bring another layer into this, remember, Buffalo Bills 117, this shooting 117 days before the Bills opened the season against the Rams. And remember, Grand Central equals 117, like Buffalo Bills. There was also a shooting at Grand Central Market the day of the top shooting in Buffalo, LA. And with regards to 117, we just had the 11th day of the 7th month, and there was a thing in New York about what to do if there's a nuclear bomb that goes off. Public service announcement. That was on 11/7. And when Donald Trump confused the 7-Eleven grocery store change with September 11th, he did that in Buffalo, which is in New York, not too far from 9/11, where 9/11 happened in Manhattan, when the Manhattan Project was to make the big bombs, and the original definition for ground zero was the point above or below ground where a nuclear or atomic bomb explodes. And then again, the whole way it was synced up with Timothy McVeigh, who's from the Buffalo area, who blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City exactly 117 weeks after Bill Clinton, Jesuit educated and who also went to Yale, became president. Again, just to make a point about the base ciphers, this is why you got to know the multiple ciphers. Whoops, wrong page. Here we go. This is the one I need. Central Intelligence Agency, 243. When Oklahoma City blew up, it was 243 days after Clinton's birthday and exactly 117 weeks after he became president. You see that 135? Hold on. Let me get the spelling of this man's name right. This guy right here, this part could be coincidental, but we've seen a good amount of 135 rituals with the CIA as well. And hold on, I clicked on the wrong post. This gentleman right here, I got to make sure I get the spelling of his name right. Jafari with the double I, Jafari Jones. Check out his name, Gematria. 135 for Central Intelligence Agency. Remember the last lady who was the head of the CIA? Her name was 135. They did a big ritual with her on May 13th. But this guy's name also has the 135 in it. You know? What are the odds? And again, I mean, how many operatives were on the scene? It's just like how I had Grady Lewis come over and tell me, and he said, you see those two white people over there in the collared shirt? He said, those people showed up with the kid the Friday before the shooting. He said, what are they doing here? That gives me the creeps. You know, there's people on the scene that are like overseeing the operation, and they're making sure they got eyes on the scene. I'm not sure if it was captured on the live stream, but MRB and Jay Buds, who are both tall, they're both like, I don't know, 6'4", taller, 6'5". They both, with a piece of chalk, reached up high on this chalk wall and wrote about 63 in Buffalo. And a woman came over and told us we need to cut all this Gematria stuff off because it wasn't the right time and we were the wrong color skin in that neighborhood. And it's just like, who's this person? How does she even know what Gematria is? How did she just come at us like that? But, you know, imagine had everybody in the community absorbed that lesson about 63. Maybe a few people would notice. You know, the story, and I shouldn't say maybe there's a lot of people who did absorb the knowledge. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are there who are going to observe that the store's open in a span of 63 days from the shooting. You know, imagine thousands of people had been out there in Buffalo to support the work and get out the same word, just drown out all the other messages. Because that was the thing, there was a lot of competing messages. But God, had everybody walked away having this knowledge, they'd be able to see, man, this ritual is just building by the day. Okay, before Angel and Tara get on here, which probably isn't too far off, you know, as I'm finishing my book right now, that's only about 201. Well, it's mostly about 201 until the last chapter. It's almost entirely about 201 until you get to the last chapter. I was thinking it was kind of light on 201 with Donald Trump. And, you know, today I noticed something about Trump in 201, and then somebody had the $1 million observation. And I know I said this earlier, but I got to say it again. Again, earlier today, I noticed that Trump's first son, because Ivana died today, and so that got us looking more into Donald and his relationship and his marriage with her, where they had 3 children, Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and Ivanka Trump. are all the children of Ivana. And Ivanka's real name is Ivana. She has the same name as her mother. But I noticed that his first child, Donald Trump Jr., was born December 31st, the 201st day of Trump's age. And then that's perfect because they were married earlier that year, 77 on 4/7 of all days, Trump 47. But look at it. I mean, the leader of the ceremony, Norman Vincent Peale, 201, Marble Collegiate Church, 201. And then you think about Biden, right? Biden loses his wife and daughter. They die in a 201 ritual on Limestone Road, which equals 201. And then his son dies at 46, 201 days before Pope Francis's birthday. And the same Jesuit priest who did the funeral for Beau Biden at 46 did the inauguration for Joe Biden on 20/1 like 201. And his name's Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, which equals 201. Huge number with the Jesuits, which founded the Illuminati, which embraced the 201 number. You know, don't forget, Donald Trump in the most pure cipher equals 48 like Illuminati. Another good one is, you know, Bill Gates' full name, William Henry Gates, is 201. He got his COVID vaccination on the 48-year anniversary of Roe vs. Wade. Vaccination in the most pure cipher equals 48 like Illuminati, like Donald Trump. And don't forget, in the most simple cipher, both evil and tree equal 201. Tree, which matters because all of this comes from Kabbalah. Jewish mysticism equals 201. The evil tree of life is the Qliphoth, which is about sorcery and spell casting and relating to evil. You know, when I first started this study, I was so perplexed by the fact that the word evil and tree had the same value. I was like, why would that be? Like, the least evil thing I can think of in the world is a tree. I couldn't figure this out when I first started this research, but then I found about the evil side of the tree of life, the Qliphoth, and I was like, that's got to be what this is. In the most pure cipher, Hollywood's 48. Remember New Mexico, what they did with Alec Baldwin shooting the Ukrainian woman 201 days after his birthday? Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Ross, when he chews everybody out and tells them what a pieces of shit they are, it's in room 201. So anyway, what a huge 201 ritual with Trump. And what do we keep saying about these celebrities and their arranged marriages and how they point to their future? You know, in my last book, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, I argued that Bill and Melinda were married in a ritual on January 1st, 94, clearly synced up with the coronavirus pandemic. And it says it looks like they were married all these years ago, synced up with the planned COVID pandemic. Well, they ended up getting divorced by the numbers in a perfect ritual, you know, synced up with the COVID pandemic, which we covered at the time. So they got divorced on 8/2 and Seattle's 82 and a whole bunch of other stuff. It was 87 days before Bill Gates' 66th birthday that they got divorced. And look at this. Number of the beast is 66 and 87. William Henry Gates is 258 in the same cipher, like how his dad died on the 258th day of 2020, and like how he established his vaccine alliance on his 258th day of his age. And don't forget when Trump's wife just died, his ex, she just died on Ivanka's 258th day of her age. 201, 258, order of Illuminati numbers. Order of Illuminati 201, 258, William Henry Gates. Yeah, how it all comes together. But Bill Gates also equals 87, like number of the beast. And when he got his vaccine on the anniversary of Roe vs. Wade, it was his 87th day of his age. And again, that was the 48-year anniversary of Roe vs. Wade when he got vaccinated, January 22nd, 2021. Vaccination 48, Illuminati 48, Hollywood 48. We're just saying in that same cipher, Donald Trump, everybody's favorite down there in Florida, Ron DeSantis in the same club, doing the same 201 rituals. He locked down Florida on his 201st day of his age, April Fool's Day 2020. And then April 2nd, the next year, wasn't a leap year. And that was the year he said no vaccine passports. He got to play good guy on the 201st day of his age the next year. But again, this stuff's not an accident. In the most simple cipher, tree 48, evil 48. So it's interesting that evil's 48 and 60, just like Donald Trump. And again, he very well could become the second U.S. president to have a split term. And he could become number 48 in the 60th election, which is the next election. And remember, his first GOP convention in 2016 was in Cleveland, Grover Cleveland, with the only split term with a lot of parallels to Trump. So, and again, just think about the 201 club, right? He ran against Hillary, Buffalo, Hillary, ribbon cutting, 201st day of her age mass shooting. And don't forget all of them. Then you had Uvalde, 201 days after Matthew McConaughey's birthday. And that's why you got to know your ciphers forwards and backwards. He held up the green Converse about Uvalde. He gave that speech 150 days before his upcoming birthday after the shooting happened 201 days after his birthday. And again, Illuminati alone is also 150. The sun 150 million kilometers away. Heliocentrism, 150 and 201. 16th century heliocentrism, the English language, the calendar, they got it all synced up. The rituals paying tribute to all of this. In Hebrew Gematria, light equals 201. The sun, the source of light, the Illuminati in the light. And again, you know, over here where we got the mile measurement system, order of Illuminati, 93. I butchered, the one thing I butchered in the Sam Tripoli interview is the Alec Baldwin, Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee death rituals. And they're so simple, I don't know why I was having so much trouble getting out of my mouth. But remember, Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year while filming Game of Death. Brandon Lee died in 93 and was buried on Alec Baldwin's birthday on the 93rd day in 93. Then Alec Baldwin kills the woman, which reminds us of what happened in Game of Death with Bruce Lee and with the son Brandon Lee on the set of The Crow. Again, that was 201 days after his own birthday for Baldwin. And then it was 93 days after the death anniversary of Bruce Lee on the 201st day of the year. And again, Brandon Lee was buried on the 93rd day in 93, which was Baldwin's birthday. And in Glengarry Glen Ross, you know, he's chewing out everybody in room 201. And then again, he played the part of Trump on SNL. And, you know, just on the set of Rust, Russia, Ukraine shoots the Ukrainian woman in a church shootout scene when this is all about the Catholic Church. Ignatius Loyola 201, Jorge Mario Bergoglio 201, the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live in Suite 201. But remember, the Donbass region, where the military conflict began, the 201 region. And then again, Biden and Putin met for 2 hours and 1 minute, 201 days after the Ignatian year began. And then 201 days after Biden's birthday, he warned Russia not to invade Ukraine. And then a year to the day later, 201 days after Biden's birthday, the story was that Russia took control of the Donbass region, you know. Isn't it so obvious how it all comes together? And it's all Hollywood and theater. I mean, I wish I could be in Ukraine right now and see with my own eyes exactly what they're doing. But it's obvious that this is all being contrived for the sake of agenda to drive up energy costs, to go with the Agenda 21 and 2030 goals, and everything else that's coming with it. So, again, both political parties controlled by the same entities. And by the way, with the 201-93 thing, the man who did Trump's funeral, dead in 93 on Christmas Eve, right? Can you get more heliocentrism than that? The sun's birthday, December 25th, the birthday of the solar man in paganism. And look at solar man in the most simple cipher, 93. God's son, 93. Crucifix, 93. Nazareth, 93. The 930th chapter of the Bible is where the Christian section begins with Matthew 1:1. You know, we need to get Jafari Jones on for a debate without his megaphone, and we're just going to debate facts. You know, all I know is that guy was driving a real nice car, and he had the best megaphone I've ever encountered in all my days. And then this too, you guys. I mean, let's not even, we will get into the number thing here, but just take the numbers away from this story out of Ohio and now connected to Indiana. Okay. An illegal immigrant rapes a 10-year-old girl who was seeking an abortion. And now we have the Attorney General of India. Again, there's only one city in America that equals 201. It's Indianapolis, where they do 1 million 201 rituals. God, it reminds me that the lineman for the Colts, whose name equals 201, he lost his child on Pope Francis' birthday, exactly 201 days after his own birthday this year. And then the Colts won the next day on a Saturday. Again, Pope Francis is born on Saturnalia. Saturn worship equals 201. Go figure. First Jesuit Pope, Mr. 201, born on Saturnalia, Saturn worship day, which is associated with human ritual sacrifice. But that was an Indianapolis-related thing. And then the next day, the Colts put the game away with an 80-some-yard run, and they stopped the clock on 2:01 left. And they could have stopped it before that. They let it tick down one more tick to stop the clock on 2:01 as the Colts put away the game. It's just go back to the anniversary of Adam Weishaupt's death, the founder of the Illuminati, who died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. Go back on that day in history, the Indianapolis Colts had to change their box score and added on more rushing yards for their running backs so that he had 201 yards. Hold on. Colts running back. I'll just type in 201 yards. It'll probably bring it up. Here it is right here. Jonas Gray. That's who it was. Jonas Gray's yardage up to 201. Look at it, you guys. Isn't it? I mean, it's just sick. All the 201 stuff they do in Indianapolis. Elgin Baylor dies at 86. Then 201 days after his birthday, Baylor wins the championship with 86 points. 201 days before the coach's birthday, who went to college in Indianapolis at Butler. But anyway, Jonas Gray, they had to add his stats. He had 199 yards, which is funny because it was against Brady, who was the 199th pick of the draft. But then they had to give him 2 more yards to get him to 201 in Indianapolis. So now we have this story connecting Ohio and Indianapolis. Just think about it. The illegal immigrant raping the little girl, that's exactly... Okay, we're going to have Tara on here in a minute, and she is friends with Adam Francisco, and I want to be friends with Adam Francisco, but he's making me pull my hair out. And by the way, you guys, he is going through a big thing right now with his kidneys. He's in and out of the hospital. He did say he wanted to debate today, but then he said something came up and he didn't feel well, and it happened real fast. But again, he's in a bad spot right now, so I do want to have this conversation / debate with him and see if we can get people out of this Trump mind control. And yeah, if Tara's out there and she even wants to talk about it, because I know she's been trying to find herself in what's going on in the world. I'd be curious to see if she's coming out of the Trump thing or how she feels about that. But I sent this. This is from yesterday. I sent this message to Adam. I like to kind of go back and forth with him on Twitter since he's the big Trump guy. But I wrote this yesterday. I said, remember when Trump accused people like you of doing the raping? Well, here comes the story to reignite that fire. That was yesterday, right? And then today we get the headline about how he's hinting about running, which obviously he's going to do. And then you get the death of his wife. And then you get the conservatives came out with the 72-page report against him, and conservative is 72, just like Jesuit Order 72, just like President Trump is 72, So is President Biden, to be fair. Jesuits founded in Paris, which equals 72 on a 72-date numerology. It's all about the sun, which moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. But yesterday I'm saying this to him, right? And then today it becomes that yesterday it was like to drive the conservatives nuts, right? Now today they're going to drive the liberals nuts because, oh my God, this 10-year-old girl might have gotten an abortion or sought an abortion in Indianapolis where it's illegal. And again, Indianapolis being the only 201 town in America, right? The only 201 town. And this comes right after the Dobbs-Jackson thing, which is all 201. So let me pull this up. Okay, that's that. Right here. This is the case that overturned Roe versus Wade. Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization, 201. And then the very next week, we get the first Black female Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, after a week of headlines of how Black women are going to be the most impacted. And notice also how the name is. I didn't write it as Thomas E. Dobbs. That's how they have it in the case. Dobbs is Thomas E. Dobbs, which is also 201, right? And now the first big story about this, after Dobbs versus Jackson, it looks like it's really going to come down to Indiana with the story of the 10-year-old girl. And again, in the same cipher, Thomas E. Dobbs, 201, Indianapolis, 201. I don't know any other cities in America that equal 201. I do know that when you're on Interstate 90 driving between Seattle and Spokane, which have 2 of the nation's 27 Jesuit universities, you get one sign that on I-90 that says 201 miles to Seattle, and then when you're going to Spokane, it says 201 miles to Spokane, both ways. And again, Elgin Baylor played at Seattle U, the Jesuit school, died 201 days before Gonzaga University lost in the Big 201 Ritual to Baylor. And for the record, Gonzaga is named after Aloysius de Gonzaga, which is another 201. And you know how he died in history? He died from illness in the first college championship after Event 201 and coronavirus shuts down March Madness in 2020, the next year when the first tournament happens. Again, Gonzaga's part of it, this Jesuit program where the founder it named after died from illness. But remember, Gonzaga and Baylor were supposed to play each other in Indiana. They were supposed to play each other in Indiana, and the game got canceled. It was a neutral site game in December. It got canceled because supposedly there was a coronavirus outbreak. So, again, I mean, it's just, this stuff is such a joke. But then you add the numbers to it. So they're saying, the story is, let me pull up the story here. Okay. Here, I'll just read it all. Indiana's Republican Attorney General said Thursday, that's today, that authorities in his state are investigating for potential failure to report child abuse. A doctor who said she recently helped a 10-year-old rape victim from Ohio obtain an abortion in Indiana, even as the attack already had been reported by the girl's mother, and Ohio police were investigating. Attorney General Todd Rokita first made the announcement Wednesday on Fox News. So that yesterday, the story starts, July 13th. Donald Trump back in 2016, who's doing the raping, insinuating that people coming across the border are doing all the raping, which is a ridiculous thing. I mean, the sad thing is there's a major problem in this nation with people raping their children. There's families that rape their own children. There's all sorts of people of all different races and religions raping their children, but it does happen most commonly in areas that have the most trauma, communities that are purposely targeted and destroyed where the most trauma is. You'll also find the most abuse. It's just part of the vicious cycle of things. Anyhow, Dr. Caitlin Bernard, an Indianapolis-based OBGYN, told CNN, by the way, all women out there, I would highly encourage you to make sure your OBGYN is a woman. And the reason I say that is because my sister married a doctor and his buddy was a OBGYN. And anytime I went golfing with these guys, this is when I was younger, years ago. My sister, she's 12 years older than me, and her husband, well, sadly, they recently got divorced, but he was 10 years older than her. So these group of men were 22 years older than me. So I was like around them as in my late teen years, early 20s. And I just couldn't believe how the OBGYN, the things he'd be saying about the women that came through the office. And I just thought, oh my God, imagine if these women knew that this was going on. Anyway, women, make sure you have female doctors. Anyhow, told CNN earlier this month that she helped the girl after Ohio banned abortion as early as 6 weeks of gestation following the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade. The young girl was raped in early May, and police in Columbus were first alerted of her pregnancy on June 22nd, according to police documents and court testimony. So from June 22nd to now today, the day of this update, look at this. Look at this. It starts on the 22nd, right? We're in 2022. And then this becomes the news on Wednesday, which was the 22nd day. Also today, Thursday, you could say is 22 days later. So yesterday and today, this story, yesterday was a span of 22 days. Today is 22 days later. Rape 22, right? And then shout out to Kyle on the sidelines. He pointed out in light of her being 10, in light of all this being about Kabbalah, where this whole code of letters numbers comes from, the 10th Sephiro in the Tree of Life represents the feminine, and it's right next to the clip-off, which is where evil is. And I was doing some research because he says it has a lot to do with pregnancy. That turns out to be an Aleister Crowley's thing, who's an important occultist, so definitely relevant there. But there's a symbolism with 10 in the Tree of Life and pregnancy. And the name of the woman, Caitlin Bernard, her name equals 95, just like Guatemalan equals 95. They're saying the man who raped the young girls at Guatemalan. Of course, the Jesuits were credited to counter the 95 Theses. Notice how the Attorney General fits in with the larger theme of today. We've seen a lot of 72 today. Again, it started with Trump being attacked with a 72-page report from conservatives, where, again, conservatives 72, but so is Attorney General, so is President Trump, so is President Biden. Now you have the OBGYN factoring in another 72. You have his dead ex-wife today in the news cycle, another 72. Years ago, Trump was at the UN while age 72, making a fool of himself on a 72 date numerology. And again, Kabbalah, there's 72 names of God in Kabbalah. There's a reason for these super redundant patterns. There's a reason they just put 72 all over the Roe versus Wade decision. Again, the original Roe versus Wade was a 7-2 decision. Now the overturning came on a 72 date numerology, and Samuel Alito, who was blamed, well, who was connected to the memo leak, not blamed, but it was his memo that was leaked. He's 72 years old. And there's also 72 demons of the Goetia in Kabbalah. So, and I noticed that the Attorney General who's going after this, he's born on the 40th day of the year. Born on the 40th day of the year. And this looks like it's going to become, you know, a big story. You can just see how this is going to be for the political narrative, right? Because now the Democrats are going to have more of a reason. The Democrat focus is going to be on getting a law passed to make Roe versus Wade permanent. And then the conservative, their push is going to be to make sure the Democrats don't hold a majority, so that can't happen. And again, this just fits in perfectly with the politics. And here's the other thing I want to say. Remember this? We haven't talked about this for a while, but we talked about this a lot at the start of Trump's presidency. Border wall equals 47, right? Border wall 47, Trump 47. And there's 2 states that equal 47, Ohio and Nevada. Trump had his convention in Ohio. Ohio's 47. Again, government's 47. Authorities 47. Republicans 47. Democrats 47. President's 47. White House is 47. The letters DC's 47. Ivana's 47. Trump got married to Ivana on April 7th. He also got his first Supreme Court Justice, Neil McGill Gorsuch, on that day. Judge 47. Gavel 47. Ketanji was confirmed on April 7th as well. Ketanji's also a 47. Trump and Biden get their first Supreme Court justices on the same day. So fitting, 4-7, the 97th day of the year when Supreme is 97, which is the 25th prime. And notice how Judge also has the 25 in it. Notice how Judge and Gavel are the exact same in all 4 ciphers. Anyway, all of this stuff is such ritual. And I mean, there's really even more to say about it, but it's just so obvious. It's so obvious that it's just the perfect story to make both sides of the aisle pull their hair out and get even more mad at each other. Oh, this wouldn't have happened if you would have closed the border all the way. Oh my God, are you seriously going to prosecute the doctor who helped a 10-year-old girl get an abortion? What kind of sick psychopath are you? You know what I mean? And it's like the two sides can't see each other. All they can see is their point of view, and they're eternally clashing heads and going for and voting for these people in suits that do not care about us. So we got to get Adam Francisco on here. We got to see why he is so dedicated to Donald Trump 24/7, 365. I mean, it's like these people do not care about. I mean, you guys, one of the biggest rituals in politics I've ever seen just happened. Donald Trump endorses Dr. Oz. And what day was the election for Dr. Oz? Yeah, they had to do the long recount, but the day of the election was the anniversary of the publishing of The Wizard of Oz. You don't think you're being made fun of? Dr. Oz on the anniversary of the publishing of The Wizard of Oz. I mean, come on. So, anyhow, while we wait for Angel and Tara to get back, as I say, we could take some calls, but you know what? For anyone who missed the Ivana Trump coverage, we can also go over the death of Ivana real quick. I know we already did it once today, but again, this information needs to get out there. You guys need to start retaining this information more, sharing it. The world's going to wake up when more people start getting out the word about this. This stuff is just way too redundant. So hold on. Let me get the right post up here. All the things that are crucial about Ivana. She's dead at age 73. As we know, sacrifice and ritual sacrifice equals 73. So does Ivana Marie Trump, her full name. And Again, we were saying today is 14/7, like 147, 147 windows on the White House. President of the United States, 147. U.S. President, 147. Big number with White House rituals. And this comes on the day that we get the headline that he's ready to run. And again, they were married on 4/7. Like we said earlier, Ivana's 47. Really great comment from KE. We covered that. And you know, if you didn't watch, just before this news broke, I did a live stream this morning about how Trump is not the person. And I talked about the Jesuits, 144, their rig show, their ritual murders. Right when I got done talking about that, about 15 minutes after I finished that stream, the headline broke that Ivana Trump was dead. And the first thing I noticed was she was dead 144 days after her birthday. And again, you got Angel and Tara down in Uvalde, the shooting on the 144th day of the year. And don't forget that was 10 days after the Buffalo shooting, which was 144 days after the death of Peter Canisius, his death anniversary, I should say. And again, the Jesuit school, Canisius College, is just down the street from the Tops Market on Jefferson, 3/4 of a mile. From Melania's birthday to the death of his ex, 79 days, Murder in Society of Jesus, 79. I was talking about that in Buffalo, too, because the store was opened on 7/9, O.J. Simpson's birthday. And again, here's her full name in the most pure cipher, Ivana Marie Trump. Not only is she dead at 73, she's dead on the day leaving 170 days left in the year. Sacrifice, 73 and 170. And I'll skip some of this because I did cover it in the video earlier, not to overload with numbers. But also dead on Ivanka's 258th day of her age. And they have the exact same name, Ivana Marie Trump. And there's that Simpsons predictive programming that Ivanka becomes president in 2028, which is the year she turns 47. So it's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. If Trump wins in 2024, the Simpsons thing might be dead on. He has a split term presidency. In the cartoon, Trump's followed by a female president who's Lisa Simpson. And just to show you the gematria of Lisa Simpson and Ivanka Trump, look at this. The exact same in all four ciphers. Lisa Simpson's the first female president in the history of the U.S. in the Simpsons cartoon, but her name is the exact same as Ivanka Trump in all four ciphers. And the 146 should stand out too, because that's Trump's birthday, right? June 14th, the 14th day of the 6th month. So, could be the Trump dynasty, the Super 201 family. And then, yeah, just the picture NBC used with the green dress. I mean, we know what's up with that. Soylent Green, Green New Deal, green heart chakra stuff everywhere, green Converse, green pro-choicers. You know, all the pro-choicers wearing the bright green. Marjorie Taylor Greene, green skies in South Dakota. Again, just green overload. So while we wait for Angel Baby and Tara to get ready, I think I will take a few calls. If you guys want to call in, the number's 509-560-4982. Again, 509-560-4982. I will post it in the chat. But if you guys have something to add about the topics tonight, your call is welcome. And if you're on a slightly related topic, that's also fine. So we got our first call here, 347. 347, you're on.
Hey, what's up, Jack?
Thanks for the heads up on the 44, dead in Virginia. So I still got to do more research on that. What else is going on?
I didn't see no update on that. Did they find the people?
I saw the same headline all day today, so it just stayed on that.
So the 44 people still missing?
That was the last I saw.
Look what number they left it on, 44.
Yeah, number associated with death.
I was going to say something about the Ivanka Trump. They said they found her at the bottom of the stairs. I think it's a riddle to that. They found her at the bottom of the stairs. What you think about that? There's something about finding her at the bottom of the stairs.
I'm gonna have to think about that. You know that's a reference right there. I didn't even catch that latest detail. So they're making it seem like she might have fell down the stairs.
Yeah, exactly. She had a heart attack or something going down the stairs. So they're saying that she fell down the stairs and they found her at the bottom of the stairs. Either she fell or somebody pushed her. That's how I see it.
Okay.
And they said that she's supposed to be going out of town tomorrow. She's supposed to be going to St. Tropez somewhere. She's supposed to go on vacation tomorrow. So I just thought it was very interesting that the way they said they found her at the bottom of the stairs and she's supposed to go on vacation tomorrow. Because I want to say the stairs are connected with Trump when he first announced his presidential election. What it was about when he first announced it after Trump. He came down the stairs, right?
Did you check the gematria of stairs?
Stairs is with the S. Hold on, let me type it in.
It's 86. It's 86 like blood sacrifice and human sacrifice, and it's 76, which is his age right now.
Mm-hmm. I just thought it was interesting that they had to mention that they found her at the bottom of the stairs. So I'm just thinking of him when he announced he's running for president, him coming down the stairs, right?
Indeed. If you write out the phrase bottom of the stairs, like how they have it, it's 72, just like ex-wife, like President Trump, like all the 72 stuff today. Bottom of the stairs. 72.
I just knew sometimes you can just look at the words they be using in the articles without even typing it in and seeing that there's something. There's a reason why they said they found it at the bottom of the stairs. And downstairs because Trump, when he announced he's running for president, he was coming down the stairs. So then she died, and he talking about he's gonna announce when he's gonna run. So you know that, right? That story come out. He's gonna announce when he's gonna run.
Right, all at the same time, exactly. And on this day that couldn't be more presidential, 14/7. It says that the home was at East 64th Street, and as we know, that's a big kill number, 64.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it. I just wanted to make that point because I didn't hear you say nothing about her. They found her at the bottom of the stairs. I just thought it was interesting that they said stairs, and I'm thinking about Trump and the stairs coming down the stairs.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you're right. Because that first picture when he was first running, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's probably more to stairs than we know. So we need somebody who has a greater occult understanding to help us out. I'm sure there's a bigger ritual to that. But the phrase "bottom of the stairs" got that 72 right in it.
One more thing, if I get off. When did Trump's brother die? Did his brother die?
He died August 15th, 2020, on the Jesuit Order's birthday.
Okay. That was August 15th. Okay.
Yeah, August 15th, 2020, and there might be something to that because that date had 63 numerology, and this date that his wife's dead on has 63 date numerology, and again, that has to do with rabbinic Judaism, and I do know that all of their children married into Jewish families, and again, the tops thing has 63 all over it, and that was on Israel's birthday, so I'm gonna have to do some more thinking about that.
And one more thing about the Buffalo, you remember before he tried to run for president, he tried to buy the Buffalo Bills. Let's not forget that. He tried to buy the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, he did.
NFL owners did not want him to be part of the club.
The owner. He's in the same club with the guy who owns it. The guy who owns the Bills, his name is 201. So.
Yeah. So before because he wanted to buy the Bills, when that didn't happen, that's when he ran for president.
I don't remember that about Trump wanting to buy the Bills. I got to go back and look at that. That's a good catch.
So just look into that and wanted to buy the Bills too.
Okay, I will. Very good.
All right, Zach, that's it.
All right, thanks, man. Take care.
Okay.
Hey, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Are you coming out to New York for 9/11?
I'm gonna try to be there.
Oh, come on, man. What do we got to do to get you there?
I gotta keep the bills, keep the lights on.
All right, tell me what I need to do to help you get there, because I'd like to see you there. You're a long time caller.
Okay then.
All right, man. You got my number. All right, see you. Yeah. I'll be mad if he doesn't come. Like I feel like I know that guy. It's funny. I don't know him. I just know his voice through the phone. I mean, he's called in for years. It's just like Rambo too. I've never seen what Rambo looks like. What's up, Buffalo?
Hey, Zach, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
All right, man. It's your boy Jay Bud from Buffalo. We hung out a bit when you were here.
Oh, of course. How could I ever forget you, man? So I could never tell you were a giant through the phone, but what's up, man? Thank you so much for coming out and everything you did too.
No, man, no biggie at all. I didn't really even catch much of this stream. I actually just caught like the last 10 minutes, but I'm assuming that you caught that from the shooting to the opening is a span of 63 days, right?
Indeed I did. Yes.
Yeah, it's like unbelievable, man. Yo, from the shooting to the Bills' birthday is 5 months and 14 days, like the day of the shooting.
The other thing I caught is it's 322 days after Hochul's birthday, and Buffalo Bill, his Pony Express record ride was 322 miles long.
Beautiful. I have so much information on that, dude. I honestly might write a book.
Do it.
I sent you a honestly, I got so much on it. I want to do it. I got to have the time. It's just a matter of time. You probably know how it is. I might even bite your have you give me some feedback on some stuff.
Of course.
If I do go ahead with that.
Absolutely.
But I sent you a text. I know you're probably busy. You never catch them. But did you catch the phone number of the fucking store, bro?
The Tops?
The Tops store. The phone number is the area code, obviously, and then it's like 816 or 618. I think it's 816, sort of like 168, right, with the OKC encoding on it. And then the 0038.
Oh, 38, yeah. Tops 38, Death 38. That he cased the store supposedly on March 8th.
They had the murder number on the store the whole time.
It's just like when I went, it was crazy. When I went to the shooting on the 38th day of the year at the Kroger, where they said a 38-year-old killed a 38-year-old, I couldn't believe how all the road signs as I was approaching had 38 everywhere on them. I was like, how many 38s am I going to see on signs going to this town? So.
It's like follow the 38 road. It's like the yellow brick road over here. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. Really, all the stuff that's attached to this. And
well, here, since you got here late, do you remember the Black Lives Matter protester who had the megaphone?
You know what? I caught that on the replay, but I was at my boys' baseball game earlier in the day, and I wasn't there side by side with you right when that happened.
Well, that guy's name though, Jafari Jones. That's his name, Jafari Jones. It equals 63.
Yeah, so they sent that guy there on purpose, right?
There's a petition online to do something about this guy. There's a man out there, Kevin Keene Johnson, who has a petition out there to stop this man because he says he's making black people look bad. So.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I think all these shootings and everything that's happened after this one that happened in Buffalo on Israel's 74th birthday, I think those are almost like, they're not a distraction because they've added to the agenda and everything else that comes along with it. But I think as far as the main ritual, there's something deeper with this Buffalo thing.
Absolutely. And they've all been 201, every last one of them. By the way, that Jafari Jones, he was in the news a year to the day of the New York subway shooting for turning himself into the police. And that was the 102nd day of the year, April 12th, 2021. And again, just the Underground Railroad and Harriet Tubman, who took it up through Buffalo. And of course, Harriet Tubman's another 201. But yeah, that guy that was there is some kind of real agent. So
crazy. They had a lot of agents on the scene, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm driven by this spot randomly here and there. It's like, I don't know. I didn't know what to think about that Grady dude or nothing, but like, to be honest, I drove by him one day randomly, and the dude he's just hanging out there, man. he must be down there. He's a regular, man. He's a fixture over there.
There's no way he wasn't a regular, because everybody, unless like the whole thing was like Truman Show and there was a ton of people there, but all sorts of people in the community knew him. He was obviously homeless. He's collecting plastic bottles. That the media might have given him a tip on some key words to say in there to fit in with the programming, but he's definitely a homeless dude from down in that area.
Yeah. Crazy. You still with me? I felt like I might have lost you.
No, I'm still here. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, he's a fixture there. It's like he was a little weird and whatnot. So she's a little hard to follow and a little quirky. And it's just odd that the medium used them. You know, they use who they can though. So they have their reason.
Indeed.
They got to use everyday people too, you know, just to fit their narratives and whatnot. So, but I just wanted to let you know those couple other little things, and that was pretty much it. I was blown away as soon as I heard today that they were opening the store back up. I said, dude, it's probably coming up on 63 days, and I said, sure enough, what the heck?
Here's the other thing I see in the opening of the store. They're reopening it on the 196th day of the year. That number has a square root of 14. And today, on July 14th, 2 months after the shooting on May 14th, today they had a moment of silence before they reopen it and a tribute and a get-together and speakers there today. And remember, that's a big thing with white supremacy, the 14 words. And so, again, it's a perfect ritual, as we know.
It's legitimately perfect. There's so much connected to it from, there's a reason that they put the Jesuit school. I mean, you pointed it out, but think about this, man, Zach. They ended the Bills season, right? It was their last season was in 73, right?
Oh, the last year they played in Buffalo.
Yeah, the last season they played up the street over at the War Memorial Stadium. I believe it was 73, or the first season that they went out to Orchard Park was 73.
God, there's so much with 73 right now. Roe versus Wade that year, Soylent Green. What you just said about Trump trying to buy the Bills, and his wife just died at 73 today while all this is happening at the same time, right after the 7/11, 9/11 joke, and he made that mistake in Buffalo.
Right. And that's where OJ played, right? But
right.
The very next year when he went out, I think it was the 73 season, right?
Okay.
He ran for his record. He ran for his record that still stands because it was in a 14-game season, another 14, right? But
right.
Think about what he ran for, dude. 2,003 yards. What year did that store open?
Right, 2003. And on his birthday.
On his fucking birthday.
Right.
On his 56th birthday. I'm telling you, it's so deep, Zach. It's so deep, bro. Anyway, write your book on that, man. It could be a great short book, all on the Buffalo thing. So, yeah. Well, what? I got thoughts on it, and I might want to pick your ear just to see how to piece it together and that sort of thing, because you've got a little bit of knowledge and experience there. So.
Well, you're good at talking to people about it. I mean, just a lot of times I'll say things out loud and I'll be like, yeah, that's how I'd say it. Let me write it down that way. So, but yeah, I'm happy to help you.
All right, Zach. We'll keep up the good work, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks again, friend. You have a good night.
All right, no problem, man.
See you. That guy's a giant, by the way. What's up, 510?
Hey, what's up, Zach? How's it going? This is Bamboo. Just wanted to say what's up, and everybody in chat too. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Regarding this Ivana Trump thing, I'm sure you already saw, but 63-day numerology, Ivana Trump equals 63.
Oh, perfect. I missed that the first time. Yeah, Ivana Trump, 63 dead on. Well, actually, I was talking about the significance of 63 in her name earlier, but I was forgetting that she died on the 63 day. Yeah, good one. And again, his brother died on a 63 day numerology on the Jesuit's birthday, August 15, 2020.
Yeah, I'm not sure the significance of the 135.
Bavaria's 135, like Illuminati, Central Intelligence Agency's 135.
Wow. And then regarding, like, it just came out that, like, what, she fell down the stairs or something?
That's what they're making it sound like. She was found dead at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, take a look. Fell downstairs. 177-201-84.
Huh. Fell downstairs.
Pretty interesting.
Hey, did you see everything we were saying about their marriage in 201?
Yeah, I was following that, yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember all of it by heart, but yeah, there's 201s all over. So just thought that was interesting. You keep up the good work, man. I appreciate it. Everybody in the community as well. Bless up. I'll see you guys in chat. Thanks, Zach.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Okay. You know what? I just realized I should probably switch over to the other audio setting for better sound quality. Caller?
Hey, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hey, I was looking at Trump's, I was going back and looking at, back when Trump got the coronavirus.
Uh-huh.
And one thing I noticed is that his birthday, a date written 14/6, is 146 days before Inauguration Day. But of course, we know how it was, 110 days after his birthday. And the date was October 2nd, 10/2. And what's interesting is that 146 is 102 in base 8, and 102 is 146 in base 12. And if you look at 146, 102, and 110, all three of the numbers have divisors that equal 216. And that's all I have for tonight.
All right. Great observations. I appreciate it.
All right. Good night.
Take care. Okay. So the Bills, the Buffalo Bills used to play just down the street from the Tops Market, like 3 blocks down the street at a place called the Rock Pile. But then they left for Orchard Park, which is where they still play. So OJ's first season playing in Orchard Park, he rushed for 2,003 yards. That's interesting because they opened that stadium or that Tops in 2003 on his birthday. And we know the NFL scripted to the yard. What's up, 301?
Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, so, they were doing that, like, training exercise and that video that they had about, this nuclear event, this PSA in New York City.
Uh-huh.
Well, like a year ago, I seen this article, and I can't find it for the fucking life of me. It's been, like, completely scrubbed, where they were doing these same exercises in 4 different cities, and it was New York City, it was Philadelphia, it was Atlanta, and it was Austin, Texas. And they did the same exact exercise where they had this dirty bomb nuclear explosion or whatever in the subway system or metro system. So I couldn't find it. I've been looking for it. But Austin, Texas just ran an exercise back in May, but they have a name to it now. See, last year they didn't have a name to it. When they did the exercise, I think it was New York did it. New York City did it on October the 11th, which is like 111. Everybody knows New York is 111 and 111. And September the 9th is the 111th day remaining in the year. But anyway, they have a name to it now. It's called Cobalt Magnet 22. And when you look that up in Gematria, it equals 150. And I forget the other names right now. I'm tired, but I seen you're having a call-in show. And I needed to call in real quick and let you know that there was a name to this event that they ran in Austin, Texas, and it's called Cobalt with a C, not a K. Cobalt Magnet 22, and it equals 150, like terror attack. So anyway, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you for letting me call in.
Okay. Yeah, if you can figure out the date on what you're trying to remember, that's in my mind vaguely too. So good thought.
Yeah, so if you look it up, they just did that training exercise in Austin for the very same thing they were training for in New York.
I'll remind people,
just released that
in 2018, we had the Austin bomber, and then that was synced up with the mega bomber in Florida, Caesar Sayok, and then that's what allowed us to predict that there'd be something big on the Ides March because they had the characters from Rome in those 2 bombings, and then the Ides March ended up being the mosque shootings, which were then compared with the recent Buffalo shooting, because the Buffalo shooter used the same manifesto that the Ides of March shooter used. So yeah, somehow all of this circles back in, but very, very good point. I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Take care. Isn't it amazing though, you guys? I mean, isn't it funny also to have that moment on video talking to the Black Lives Matter protester about this, and then he starts talking his shit, and only to find out that he's an actor that has 63 coded in his name. And he said all of his bullshit. Oh, all of his bullshit. Well, then why are they reopening the store span of 63 days later? I mean, come on, man. So here, let me I forget. Let me look up who. Hopefully, Angel and Tara. Right, they're running longer than I thought they'd be. But hold up. Owner of the Bills. I can't think of his name right now. It's like Pagula. Terrence Michael Pagula, right here. Terrence Michael Pagula, billionaire. And here, I think I actually have a post on him. Oh, there it is. Okay. Terrence Pagula, worth $5.8 billion. His oil and gas outfit, East Resources, sold the bulk of its assets to Royal Dutch for $4.7 billion. And remember when the Bills used to be in New Era Stadium, and New Era has the 47 as their logo a lot of the time? He bought the Sabres the next year for $189 million, and in 2014 outbid groups led by Donald Trump and Bon Jovi to pick up the Bills for $1.4 billion. It's interesting because there's that 14 number. Okay. Donald Trump, he wanted to put the Central Park 5, he wanted to give him the death chamber, and they weren't even guilty. But here, his full name, Terrence Michael Pagula, 201. 201. The current head coach of the Bills right now, Sean Michael McDermott, 201. And the shooting happened 54 days after Sean McDermott's birthday. Jesuit order in Bills is 54. And then with Josh Allen, for Josh Allen, the shooting happened on his 359th day of his age, which is the 72nd prime number. Notice Jesuit order again got the 72 in it, like Buffalo Bills. And the Bills left the stadium just down the street from that Tops. Their last season there was 72. The Buffalo Bills left Buffalo in 72. And again, from the shooting to the season opener versus the Rams, 117 days. Josh Allen's grandma dead unexpectedly November 7th. I forget if there's any numbers in Peter Canisius that fit in with the ritual. We know it was 144 days after his death anniversary. 84 like in the same cipher as the Jesuit order, 84 like Jesuit. You know what? 192. The 192 thing didn't even stand out to me until after Uvalde. Remember, they said 19 children, 2 adults dead, 192 days after the governor's birthday, and assault weapons is 192, and then assault weapons is 192, and then there were several rituals with some other shootings around them with the 192 sprinkled in. We were covering that heavy. So that's interesting. Peter Canisius got the 60. Police order Donald Trump. Well, he's 60 and 159 like Donald Trump. We'll see where the story heads to, but again, the agents, man. And again, remember, there are people in the world whose names add up to 201 who aren't part of the Illuminati. It's not like just because everything's 201 it means you're in the Illuminati, but we're talking about the people that run the NFL and, you know, the Oval Office, the people that aren't your everyday run-of-the-mill ordinary Americans. What's up, 301?
Hey, so I have a date here for that cobalt magnet when they first released it. The name of it, the Nevada National Security Site .gov posted the events calendar on it, which was February 22, 22. And give me 1 second here. I'm going to pull up the day that they ran the exercise on Austin. So, you know, that's 222, like Order Out of Chaos 222 and all the other 222s that they do. But But in Austin, Texas, they ran that Cobalt Magnet 22 exercise on May 12th, 22. I don't know if that means anything or not, but
that's the 132nd day of the year. What? How is it? Cobalt Magnet? Cobalt Magnet?
Yeah, Cobalt Magnet 22.
Okay. Yeah, I got it up here. I'm gonna have to look more into that. Interesting.
Yeah. And like I said, if you put in Cobalt Magnet in the calculator, it equals 150. 150, like terror attack and a bunch of other things. But if you drop the 22, I think it equals 56 in full reduction and some other numbers. But anyway, thank you for letting me call back in.
All right. Appreciate you doing that research. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, take care. All right. Cobalt Magnet. Did I spell it wrong? Isn't that what it was called? Well, I see different numbers than what he had, but I'll look more into this. More than 30 local, state, and federal agencies will hold a major radiological incident exercise in Austin, Texas during the week of May 16th through May 20th. So the 136th day of the year through the 140th. The Cobalt Magnet 22 exercise, which is led by the U.S. Department of Energy's National Nuclear Security Administration, brings numerous agencies together to ensure preparedness against radiological threats. 18 months of planning. Okay, so it's a nuclear-related exercise. We know Austin's Jesuit town. You have to think more about that one. Well, hopefully everything's okay with Angel and Tara. I thought I would have heard back from... Oh. I was slow on the response. I missed the text message. Yeah, if you guys are out there listening right now, I would love to have all of you on, including Sav Says. I saw her on Fox News again tonight. She can talk fast, Sav Says. So... Oh, you're here? Oh, shit. I'm doing a bad job. I guess they're already here. Okay, my bad. My bad, ladies. I'm sorry.
It's all good. We got stuck. There was a train. Like, you know how the bars come down? And we were stuck for like an extra 10-ish minutes waiting on the train. So, yeah, sorry.
No, not at all. Thank you so much for coming on. And sorry I didn't see you guys were in the room. So,
yeah, it was raining again. It's been like on and off. It like stopped raining just enough when we got to Uvalde, and then as soon as we left, it started raining again.
Yeah, that was interesting because we were only going to stop over in Uvalde for like literally 5 minutes, and we ended up spending almost 2 hours there.
Yep, because those guys and the whole thing. Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Do you want to tell that story of what happened?
Yeah, Angel, kick it off.
We start. So we were on our way to the border, and like when we left San Antonio, when I got her from the airport, like this dust storm kicked up. Like I was talking to Blake on the phone earlier, because remember he's all the way up in Dallas, and he's like, "Yeah, there's like a weather alert. It's getting all crazy." I'm like, "It's clear here down in San Antonio," but then literally as soon as I picked her up from the airport, like the sky went all like dark and brown, and we're like, "Hey, let's get out of here. Well, let's try to beat traffic as well as like."
We tried to stay ahead of it.
Yeah, we were staying ahead of it, and then we stopped. Like at a quick trip for a few minutes, and then it seemed to like descend on us. So we were like riding with the storm for a good 45 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, I hadn't seen a storm like that either because it was dust.
It just like
with lightning
on us. It was dust,
sideways
lightning,
rain,
sideways rain, and then like we were hydroplaning a bit. Like the water came up so quick.
Oh, sure.
Like, what is this? So I was having a conversation with Tara in the car about weather warfare, and it's been admitted to for a long time in Operation Popeye and Cloud City and such. But then we saw on the map, as soon as the weather let up, we're like, oh, we're literally like, we just crossed into like Uvalde. Like we were right there, like 7-8 minutes away. Like, let's stop by the school because, my thing, remember I said I want to do a follow up? I'm like, since the media circus is going and over with and all that, I want to see if the fences are gone. I want to see, because the school's going to go bye-bye. Like, and you saw, you popped in my life for a minute, like the mementos, like mountains and mountains of mementos out there. And then they have the, they still have the perimeter fence, but then they have a secondary fence that seems to be like right up against the building, and then like this black, like almost cloth over that fence, but it's see-through if you put a light up against it. But they don't want the actual building itself in plain sight.
Yeah, they all of the windows are boarded up now too.
Yeah,
You
it looks
see
like
that?
all the windows are boarded up. It's just hard to see because it was getting dark as we were there. And then there's patrol cars like completely surrounding the building. They're spaced out, but they're all state troopers too. They're not local Uvalde. They're all state trooper vehicles.
Interesting.
So when I went around the back, there was only one state trooper, like right there. It looked like they would be like the school drop-off lanes in the morning, you know, like where the school buses park and where parents would drop their kids off. But then there were two cruisers like way out in the back. And, you know, I was going around the perimeter, like looking at all the stuff on the fence. You know, the live was making their comments or stuff they wanted to see. We came back around the front by the, you know, the brick sign, the Robb Elementary School sign.
Right.
And then all the way back around the front of the building toward like, say, like the office and all that. That little driveway, it's like carved out. There was one cruiser to begin with. And then it seemed like when I was walking over there, a second cruiser came and parked there. And we were like ready to go anyways. Because like I said, we'd only planned on staying a few minutes and taking a few pictures, but then I went live. So I signed off. We were walking away toward the corner. This is like the little cutoff where like, say like the whole media circus was when I went the first time. Like where the gates were and the white tents. I parked on that corner. We're heading back to the car. We see three guys and, you know, they have cameras out. They're taking pictures. You know, seems like they're live. They're talking like, hey, ladies, how are you? And the guy has it on his video. You'll see later. Hey, ladies, how are you? We're just documenting. Like, what are you guys doing? We're doing the same. Oh, you want to investigate with us? I'm like, yeah, no, cool. You know, like, we're about
Yeah,
to
we had
go.
just
We're
finished.
done.
I just finished my live as well, and then Angel was showing me a sign that was pointed the opposite direction. It had
like
no
Zach, remember the
purpose
mailbox?
for being there.
Remember the picture? It was in a post, the mailbox 704. So there's your 74 right there. So I couldn't see it from that vantage point before because everything was fenced off. If I was standing on the school side, right next to the brick Uvalde sign, when I look directly across the street, there's this sign, and you can't see it. Like oncoming traffic couldn't see it, so it holds no purpose. For
it points
traffic.
the opposite way
It
of
points
traffic.
The opposite way. But if I, from standing from the school, I could just see it straight ahead of me, and it's an arrow pointed to the right. Guess what it's pointing at? The mailbox that says 704. I'm like, it's on. I have like a good vantage point of it on my video.
That's the one you sent me. That's the one you sent me at the 144 and 83. Wow.
No, that was out on the street because that was a back way. I didn't see that view because I didn't come down that road. But yeah, that sign, it says 83 Spur, SPUR, which equals another 74, and then 144. So on the same sign as 83, 74, 144.
Crazy.
And that's like literally 1 minute away from the school. But I'm talking about the street of the school itself. If I'm standing in front of that Robb Elementary, that brick sign, and I look straight across the street, there's an arrow pointing, and it's not for traffic. It's literally in front of me. But it's pointing to the mailbox that says 704.
And it points the opposite way of traffic, actually. So it's not for traffic. It just points directly to the mailbox.
To the mailbox.
Again, the rituals. I mean, it's just that, and always the same numbers. So
always the same. So when I was saying, I was telling her that, mind you, I signed off the live, and we're just talking amongst ourselves. We said hi and bye to those guys. We hear commotion. We hear like a crash, and it must have been the guy's phone smashing to the ground. And then I hear him yelling, and he's in front of those two cruisers that are in front of the school by the office. And he's saying, "You assaulted me." He's like yelling. I'm like, "What's going on over there?" So I go back on. I go live again. And Tara's thinking like, "Oh, maybe they're causing trouble with the police." I'm like, "Cool, let's go see."
Yeah,
let's go.
So I kept a little bit of a distance. I didn't go live. I just started recording though, and I said to Angel like maybe they're just causing trouble, and but more that we started listening, like they didn't do anything wrong.
They were auditing the cops.
They were completely auditing the cops. And later on, the guy, even after he told us what happened, which matched exactly what we heard, we just heard the smack. Like she hit his hand.
Yeah,
she swung on him.
She swung on him for nothing.
Yeah, knocked
he
the
showed
phone.
us the video. You can see the entire altercation. Remember when I had signed off my first live? His whole video was continuous. You could see and hear where he said hi to us, and then we were gone for a couple minutes, and then he engages the officer. He's like, "Hey, how are you?" He said, and he was heckling her a little bit, but like
nothing.
Say for instance that compared to Fake Mike, it was nothing. It was mild. Like Fake Mike heckles the police way worse. Like in the audience. So he was asking like, hey, officers, like, is everything okay out here? Like, you know, you
I
look
hear
pretty
there's a lot of
suspicious.
I hear there's a lot of drugs in this
This is
area.
a drug area. Can I see your ID, officer? Like, you know, basically reversing the script that they do to citizens on the street all the time. And you could tell, like, she was not happy
She
about
gets
it. She had
out of
attitude.
she gets out of the police cruiser and just swings at him.
Well, he talks a little more. Like, she gets out of the cruiser. He's like, whoa, 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 officer. Like, so
like, why are you getting out of the?
Yeah, he's like, why are you getting out of the car? Let me see your ID. What's your name? What's your badge number? You know, just words. He's not coming closer. She's
It was
getting out of
pretty
the car to
funny.
come closer to him, and
Yeah,
it was funny for a minute. And she just
she
holds off
became
and swings at
aggressive.
him, and the camera breaks. You could see the camera smash and everything.
So when you say she
at him.
swung at him, did she like swing with the intention of knocking the camera out of his hand? Is that how it works?
And his whole camera, the whole screen was smashed. But he's like, yeah, my wrist hurts and my camera's smashed. So, you know, the other guys, you know, at this point, they're all engaging the police. The other officers were there. They call, you know, they're asking, hey, what's your name? What's your badge number? She didn't want to tell them. The other cops didn't want to tell them. They're like, yo, get a supervisor out here right now. And he eventually came. But this guy, he's like in an ill-fitting uniform. And I asked him eventually, I'm like, hey, I noticed you don't have a body cam on. Why not? Mine's broken. I'm like, why are you on duty?
Right.
Well, because I need to work. I'm like, but wait a minute.
He said actually that another guy had his broken. He gave his body camera to the other guy.
I said, yeah, that's all great and all, but would you be on duty and clock in for work if you didn't have your weapon? He's like, well, no, ma'am, I wouldn't. I said, well, why are you on duty without your body cam? Isn't that your policy? Is that part of your uniform and your equipment? Well, you make a good point, ma'am. I said, I said, isn't that for your protection? I said, never mind, that's for your protection. Us doing this when we have to engage with you guys, since we can't trust you, is our protection, unfortunately. Just like he's like, well, not necessarily. I'm like, well, this officer just assaulted this man. I'm like, so I just want to know, is that part of your training protocols? Is part of your department's policy? I just want to know, because I'm a tourist here. I'm just here to document, come pay my respects. Am I safe here in your little town, or are your officers going to assault me if I pull out my phone and exercise, you know, my First Amendment right?
And how'd they respond to that?
Well, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. You know, they seem remorseful. They're having like a oh crap moment, because they knew she was in the wrong. They shoved her away in the cruiser and let her say, like, she wouldn't talk anymore. We couldn't ask her any questions. They put her in the cruiser and they came out and talked to us. And the guys just went on them. You could tell they were auditors.
And then with the guys, they also said that they'd been around asking questions already for several days, and that they had been followed to even a diner that they were at.
So one guy said he lives in Fort Worth, actually. So like Dallas, Fort Worth area. The other guy said he actually lives like closer to me, like say Waco-ish area. He said whenever they go live, they said they're followed all the way down to San Antonio through Uvalde. It's like different state troopers and highway patrol. They said they're heckled and followed all the way down. They said they're trailed. It was an interesting conversation with them, but they have pretty good channels. But I was able to plug, because he said, I forget the channel names offhand. Like one of these things, Foul Mouth Heathen. But, you know, we were telling him about our event coming up. And I told him, I was like, hey, please check out, you know, he's another guy, you know, runs in our circles. He does 2-way demonstration. I'm like, please check out RPM Trey. And he's like, hey, if you guys are going to be out at the Capitol, we're there. And he said, my best friend, he has this channel. Like, he's been doing 2-way stuff for forever, for like years and years. We're going to check him out, but we'll come out. So that'll be a good collaboration too. Obviously, I plugged your channel. I showed them a little bit. They're like, oh yeah, this is like the stuff we like to see. I'm like, it might be a little different than what you're used to, but please, like, check it out. I gave them like a quick rundown of Uvalde. You know, I told them like some of the Buffalo stuff. They're like, yo, that's interesting. We're going to check it out. I'm like, please. He's like, because I'm telling, he's like, what do I follow? I'm like, GematriaEffectNews 22, 23, 24, 25. He's like, that man. I'm like, he gets censored a lot. So
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
They seem interested. So it was just an odd chance meeting, and the timing and everything.
Even
and
down to the weather clearing up for that
as soon as
exact.
we left, started raining again. Literally on the dot.
That's funny. Yeah.
It's
So
crazy.
did I also hear you say in your stream that they're going to tear down the school?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like Sandy Hook.
Yeah, get rid of the
Exactly.
evidence.
It's 2.0. Absolutely. So, because that's what we were saying. The guys like, yeah, we're just documenting. I'm like, yeah, you better do it now, because this place is going to cease to exist anymore. But the way these officers are acting, real, you know, touchy and aggressive, that just shows that's like even further confirmation that they have to guard this place because there's something to hide, and they're trying to hurry up and get rid of it. So,
you know, we also had the opportunity to speak to some more of the neighbors that were there that we weren't really able to engage with when we were here the first time.
Right.
Even down to so when we were talking to the neighbors about what had just happened with the police assaulting one of the journalists, even a little girl said, "Oh, they can violate our rights and not save my cousin."
Right.
Yeah.
Because, we walked up to like, kind of like, hey, what's going on here? I'm like, hey, you guys be careful. Don't go close to the police because they're out here, assaulting people and breaking cell phones. And they're like, what? They did what? That's crazy. They couldn't go save these children at the school, but they can do this.
Right.
So 2 women were walking around too. They said, this is so crazy. We live right down the street. And we're telling them, that's so interesting. Like, did you have a vantage point? Did you this? And you could tell, like, they were sad, like their energy was down. They said it's just so weird that they confirmed it. That's right. She said that's so weird that they're going to tear down the school. The school's not going to be here anymore because we went to this school as children. Our mother went to this school. This school is part of the community. I'm like, I'm sure that's sad. Like, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about this event being used to propel the propaganda? We need to get rid of 2A. We need to get rid of the guns to be safe. And then some of the other people that said they were local in the community as well, they were just regurgitating, the mainstream narrative. They're like, no, you have to be 21 to buy liquor. You have to be this, you have to be that. 18's not old enough, the same talking points. I'm like, but wait, 18 is old enough to enlist and die for your country. What about that? Yeah, but the military doesn't even have those weapons. I'm like, we're supposed to have the same weapons that the military has, the same capabilities. I said, well, this guy had this. I said, okay, but the better question to ask is, if this kid was 18, 19, he worked at Wendy's, how did he have that much equipment and ammo? And this is well over 10K worth of, gear and stuff.
Who bought it for him?
But again, they were still just regurgitating the same stuff they hear on the news. So I was like, okay, y'all have a nice night.
That same kid that was talking about the age limit or the age appropriateness of buying a gun. He also said how his father was arrested by the police for something that
he was talking about Uvalde police.
Yeah, when he was talking about Uvalde police, like not doing their job with saving the children, but they were able to, come after his dad for a very minor
old warrant, 2012 or 14.
Yeah,
he was like, these are warrants that he's not supposed to be able to serve on. They could do all that and harass my dad and come to the house and come.
And it was the same police officer. He said it was the same police officer that was at the school. One of the
who stood down. He said one of the officers who stood down.
Was it 19 police officers that were outside?
That stood down. Yep. Because remember, it goes with the number pattern again. 19 kids, 2 adults, and 19 officers just stood down. He said it was one of the same officers, and he said, you know what the craziest part was? Even after all that, he said one of the little kids was his cousin, and he still stood down. That's what he told us.
And still no explanation at all to this day, and it's months later. So
yeah. And it's crazy. One of the guys that was there, he was cool at first. He was talking to us. He's like, hey, the police are doing that. Hey, the police are wrong, this and that. And then toward the end, us two, and then the 3 gentlemen that were there, we're talking, we're exchanging channels, we're chit-chatting. And the guy kind of like, he took this dark turn. His face is off. He's like, hey, you guys need to get the F out of here. Get out of here. You guys are disrespecting the neighborhood. You guys are just here to film stuff and you this. He's like, I'm going to.
He got mad when he heard us exchanging contact information.
He's like, you guys are here to be disrespectful. We're like, no, we're here. And the guys were very gentle with him because he seemed like he was drinking too. He seemed
and he had lost family.
He says that he lost family. He's like, yo, some of my family members died here. And that's the thing. Like, we were discussing that in the car ride. These events get so sticky, and of course there's always that emotional hook there. They're blending reality with things that are not true. Like, say for instance, like say Buffalo, I'm sure something happened, but then they, out of the scene, they're blending crisis actors and all these different things, so you can't tell what's what. So you might come across these people who really are living in the community. They have experienced some kind of loss, but then all the other factors that blend in, so it's sticky. So no matter what, it's like when you're there, you try to be empathetic and show that. You try to be compassionate because these people really did seem like they were in pain. They really did seem down. Their energy was very down. They were very somber, but they were also, it seemed like they were willing to talk, like they wanted to be heard and tell their end. And it's not like a full-on mainstream media circus. That's the impression I got from them.
Sure, that makes sense.
Even one of the 2 women, they were saying how it was both a blessing that the mainstream media had left, but at the same time they felt as if everyone was going to forget about what happened in Uvalde when they left also. And so Angel and I were saying that's also part of the reason we wanted to stop by and do a follow-up.
We told them we'd been there already, and I was like, we were so curious to like do a follow-up and see how it was now that the circus had left. They're like, yeah, it's more peaceful, it's calmed down, but at the same time we don't want this to be forgotten. And that's when we start talking about, they confirmed that they heard the same thing, that the school is going to be destroyed. I'm like, yeah, but what about the school being destroyed now? And it's taking away a piece of your community that you guys even confirmed, like, it's so near and dear to you. It's part of the community. You went here. You have memories here. Even your mother went here. It's been here for a long time. And now they're taking a piece of it away and using the event to, again, fuel their agenda. Like, that must be terrible for the community. They're like, it is. It really, really is. Because then I say, yeah, do you feel like they're really going to forget about it, especially once it doesn't exist anymore? They're like, yeah.
I can understand them like wanting to tear down the building and erect maybe a memorial, but at the same time, it's kind of like if it's getting rid of evidence.
Just
exactly. Like I don't think that people may disagree with me when I say this, but like a person who's been murdered, I don't think their body should be cremated. There's always new evidence that comes out, but once you get they're really getting rid of the evidence, and I think the announcement of demolishing the school, that's so fast, and being there tonight, there's for it to be so heavily guarded.
Yeah.
That vibe that you get from being there.
It's a quiet neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like we were there when it was like getting to like the point where the sun was out a little bit, but the sun was down, but it was still sunlight, and you can see, like, you watch the live, like it transitioned to completely night. Mm-hmm. They're there all night. You can tell they're just posted up there. Like, why?
Just like in Buffalo. I mean, there's a lot of police presence at Buffalo surrounding the whole store the whole time. So
more police showed up actually towards the end of the evening. Two more police vehicles showed up.
Well, that was after, remember the guys kept asking for supervisors, so I guess another lieutenant showed up. And because obviously, like, this was a very blatant thing. Like I said, that I don't know, like, because they were all kind of huddled together, like coming back and forth to address all of us, but then talking amongst each other. The guys were still heckling them a little bit, like, hey, what are you guys doing? Looks like you're conspiring over there, officers. You're conspiring against us.
But even with the heckling, like, honestly, like, it's so mild. And they're not, like, their protocol should be to de-escalate situations, but the way the woman just came out, we saw the video of
she just swung at him. Went 0 to 100.
And it's part of their bullying tactics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's bad. Cops have, you can tell in recent years, cops have been trained a lot more to de-escalate. Like the whole I don't know if you saw what happened with me with the March for Our Lives thing up here in Seattle, but that cop was the ultimate de-escalator.
Right. But remember that, where was it? It was in Seattle. Remember, you went and asked those cops, you're like, hey, this just happened to me, and they admitted to you they had orders to stand down to like Antifa and BLM. Yeah. They de-escalate as in stand down to people who they're ordered to, both regular citizens. They get very aggressive.
That's the same thing that happened to me when I was attacked in New York, because they didn't step in. I had a crowd of like 30 people chasing after me, and they scooted away. So they're ordered to stand down
for certain people.
Your video is amazing, because had I not seen that, I would have never believed that the cops would be that bad. It's terrible. So
an unattended woman at that is beyond terrible.
I'm like, excuse me, officer, I'm being assaulted by this group of 30 people, like, actively chasing me right here. They're like 6 feet away from us now.
Right.
That's a little lawsuit. But then again, what is it that, like, actually the police really, they don't have any kind of, like, they're not required to.
Sure.
They don't have any obligation. Technically, they don't have any obligation to, like, step in and save you or whatever. And that's scary, because what is their motto on every car across to protect and serve?
Right.
I mean, really, the police are going to be, they can easily be turned into the Gestapo. They're agents of the state, so they're just a tool.
And they're trying to violate our rights. And like tonight was a clear example. Like I said, the timing was just amazing that we just happened to catch that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna turn the camera on, in case you guys need an alternative view to help document this. I'm like, we can attest, like, they weren't starting any trouble. They weren't doing anything. They were just talking. Mm-hmm. They were, in the middle of a constitutionally protected right, and the lady just swung on them.
Right. Question about the tearing down of the school. Do you know when they're gonna tear it down?
No. It just seemed, like I said, like they were very down. It seemed like it was going to be somewhat soon. But no, maybe we need to dig into a little bit. I'm sure they would pick some kind of key day.
Indeed. And yeah, I mean, again, to tear down the only evidence that there is when there's still no clarity in the story, it does seem awfully amazing.
So, but you know what they're doing? They're injecting all these new dynamics into the media.
What, 2 days ago, the leaked footage? Mm-hmm. The leaked footage for the hand sanitizer?
It was by the numbers, as always, because it's by the numbers. They had a reason for leaking that footage and the length of it, and
There's no such thing as leaked footage. It's just the release date.
No.
Right. Indeed.
Exactly.
Indeed.
But yeah, it's interesting though. But like it was a nice surprise. It was cool because just to remember, just recall how it looked. Like say last time I was there, I'll speak for myself. Just the media circus, all the media tents, how it was blocked off, how you had like that whole line of people on that street waiting for a long time, and they like just let them like kind of trickle in like 3-4 people at a time and escorted them across the street. It was like so extra the scene, and now it's wide open, and it's like these huge monuments, just piles and piles of flowers and stuffed animals. And what was interesting, one of the things I did catch that was really interesting. Remember those cardboard things you would use, like say if you had like a science project, it folds into like
sure.
pieces.
Three,
and it comes out.
yeah.
I just happened to see it's like on the back ends of the brick sign, the Robb Elementary School sign. And there were a bunch of, I was assuming children's names written on there. I'm like, let me count them. Because I'm assuming in my head, I'm like, okay, there should be 19 names here. Zach, 33 names on them. I double counted. I'm like, wait a minute. The chat probably counted with me. I'm like, I counted forwards, counted backwards, 33. I'm like, really? On the back ends of the brick sign.
Huh.
That's interesting. I didn't see that. We have to like see which names are the extra names other than the 21.
Right. And I don't have they released all the names of the 19 children? I haven't looked into that.
I don't think so. I'd have to look.
I don't think so either. I think the family would have to give their consent. I don't know quite how that works, but what was interesting too when I paid attention, I really looked at the brick sign head on where it says Robb Elementary. The two, because I guess they try to create some kind of demarcation between all the victims, like their own little personal white cross and their own little area for all their gifts. The two faces that they have on either side of the Robb Elementary School sign are the adults, the two teachers, the two women. Remember, I forget their names offhand, but yeah, one on either side.
Interesting.
So
and
that
they
was
always have the
interesting,
19
too.
children in the center of the two teachers. Another thing that like is I wasn't able to go live when I was in Uvalde because the signal kept getting jammed the entire time, like almost throughout the entire city. Like we had to go all the way to the Walmart there in order to send.
That's what happened to me at Buffalo for the last 2 days. I couldn't get a signal by the stops, but if I went down to the street to Canisius, then it worked down there.
Zach, you gotta watch the second part of my life because those guys that we were talking to, they're veterans too. As soon as I said it, I was like, "Hey, we experienced this." Like she was talking about. Zach, do you remember when I landed in Austin? I was on the phone with you, and we both kept trying to put comments in Tara's YouTube section so I could get a hold of her, and they kept deleting like right away.
Right.
And then her videos wouldn't load; they weren't clear. When we were there tonight, loud and clear.
Yeah.
No buffering, no delay, no interruptions. The stream said everything was loud and clear. The picture was clear. Nothing.
And before, when I was trying to stream, I was streaming from my live view, which bonds 3 different cell towers together, and I couldn't even get a signal out with using my solo. And this evening, I was just using my cell phone and crystal clear.
Yeah, everything was all good. So check it out though. The guys, because 2 of them are veterans. When we said that, they're like, "Oh yeah," he said, "I'll have to go review my live," but he said, "Oh, that's Stingray technology." Like I'm like, are they able to zoom in like based on the IP address? And he explained it a little bit, but it's like at the very end of my second live, I'm like, hey, my friend Zach, when we were in Buffalo, he was there for a solid week. The last like 3 days he was there, he literally could not live stream. Like he could take video, he could upload it later, and then other people that came and met him could live stream, but him specifically could not. They're like, we use that technology like deployed, like say when I was in Iraq, we do it to cut it out or jam the signal as to something to not something with detonating IEDs to prevent detonation of IEDs. He's like, it's a very specific technology, and yes, they do have the capabilities.
Interesting.
I'm like Zach would be really interested to hear this because that's exactly what they did to him, and it happens like every time we go to these events.
Interesting. Yeah, technology, they got the upper hand. So
yeah. But this guy, again, I'll have to watch them and get. I mean, we traded channels overall, but I know the chat caught some of it. There are a few people in there. I'll have to go and review it again. But these guys seem pretty interested in the event, and the guy said he's like my best friend. He does 2A stuff. He has a pretty big channel, like 15,000 people. So I think that would be a really good plug for Trey too. They're like, and I asked him, I'm like, hey, besides, checking out, the Gematria channel, can you please check out RPM Trade Vietnam? So they said they seem pretty excited about it. And I told them, we meet in Dallas once a month. If you guys want to come out, they're like, actually, yeah. They're like, we like collaborating with other channels. And they agree, like, this is what needs to happen. If we're all interested in the truth, This is what needs to happen. And it's funny we've been talking about this and how things just line up. What we talk about all the time, Zach, the organic side. You saw that sign I sent you, right? With the 144 on it too. I did not see that sign last time in Uvalde with Steve and Erica because I did not come that way. She knew that way because it's back by the funeral home, which was completely blocked off. Me and Steve and Erica tried to go. It was completely blocked off. You couldn't get anywhere near it. Tonight, wide open. So I had never seen that road before.
Huh.
Remember 83? Remember I told you that picture I sent you? Can you put it on the screen by chance? Or it's on your cell phone, huh?
Yeah, no, I added it to my Twitter. I can get it back up here in a second.
Okay.
Let me see.
Because once again, it's like the first thing, it's like the same thing I was doing the first time, my first trip to Uvalde on streaming. I saw that, like the mile marker sign that has 19 and 38 on it. I was on the other side of town, which isn't, too big, but still, I saw the same exact sign. I stopped. I'm like, wait a minute, let me make a U-turn. And it was the same exact sign, but it's on opposite sides of town. It can't be 19 and 38 miles away. And then on the other side of town, 19 and 38 miles again. One of the things I put on that post was the map laying out the 2 points. But in that one shot, you've seen the photo a few times. I've shown it to you as, I think it says La Pryor, 19, Crystal City, 38, and then Highway 83 on the side, 19, like Chaos, like Robb Elementary, obviously the 38 and 83 all in one shot. So now this sign, you see the 83, that word spur has 74, and obviously the 144. And look what it's pointing to. Look across the street. It's pointing like to the Uvalde water tower.
Also Triton. This video doesn't show it, but you notice the word Triton.
Yeah, the word Triton, I believe, is a 33. It's like a metal woodshed. It moves really fast. See that red woodshed?
It's written on there.
It's written on. It's Triton. Triton. There's a 33, and up on that water tower, if you look closely, it says Uvalde Coyotes. So like all of it right there.
Okay.
Tara calls it. I was telling Tara how Uvalde. Erica had uncovered first that it has that Main Street USA designation. Tara's like, oh, just like Main Street in Disneyland. It's like a set. Just like Main Street in Disney World or Disneyland. Every single detail means something. I'm like, oh yeah, this little town, absolutely. It's like a set. Zach, do you remember on my stream? You were watching and you were commenting. Remember the theater downtown by the little main plaza where they were having, like the Jesus scene barbecue?
Right.
Remember that theater? And it said something about creating drama since 18 something.
Right.
It's like the whole thing's like a set. It's crazy. And it's coded up front to back.
Indeed. It is really interesting when you start to come across all this information and see all the clues abound for seemingly the ritual that was planned for a long time.
Yeah.
And
that Mainstream USA designation, it's a federal program and they receive federal funds. So it's like they put these locations on layaway for whatever manufacturer, events they're going to use them for when and if they decide.
did you run into anybody in the town who's like really adamant about getting to the bottom of the truth, or like any, independent people in the town saying, I'm trying to figure this out right now because I don't like how, did you come across anything like that?
No, because honestly, we this was not planned. Like I said, it was just the rain so bad and then it cleared up, and then we saw the map like, hey, should we stop? Yeah, let's stop real quick. We only plan on stopping for a few minutes and seeing if the fences were up, which
Sure,
would
I get
plan
that.
our daytime trip. Like say we plan on going back like maybe Sunday. This was like just kind of a spur of the moment thing that turned into this couple hour ordeal. So yeah, on Sunday, I plan to make it back at least during the day. Hopefully Tara will be open too. I would actually love to walk around and actually talk to people just like that. Absolutely. Because I'm telling you, those two women, like they made me so sad. Like they really, like I said, I'm telling you, their energy instantly, it was like so sad. They're like, neither of us ever having children. And this is part of our childhood. This is part of our community. We went here. Our mom went here, just to hear kids playing in the neighborhood. And now that's going to be gone. They're going to get rid of it.
That one guy that seemed to oscillate in moods towards us, he had said something about like there needs to be justice though, and uncovering the truth.
Because he just seemed like he was like just out of it. He seemed like he'd been drinking. But one of the things, I guess, in his moments of clarity when he was kind of cool up front, he's like, yeah, there needs to be justice, and these cops, and I lost my family here. That he was adamant about that. I lost my family. Yeah. And then toward the end, I don't know, like something maybe triggered him. He didn't like we were exchanging information. Like we were just there like to make a spectacle of the scene or whatever. And everybody was gentle with him. And the women that were with him, they're like, hey, like, kind of pulling him like, hey, let's go home. And the guys, you know, handle it really well with him. They're like, you know, we're sorry. We are not here to disrespect. We're here to respect. We're here to pay our respect and, you know, just document because, you know, we're interested in the truth. And like I said, he just wasn't trying to hear it. He wasn't in the right state of mind, but he seemed very adamant about it up front. Like, hey, you know, I lost my family. You know, the cops don't need to be doing this. It was like on that tip. Confusion and
It's as
passion,
if he
but
still
then
had
it's just
the unanswered questions because
right.
they're
They don't
not
have any
satisfied.
direction
They don't
for
have
it.
direction
Right.
for it. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and there's probably developing more questions still. And
Especially
then
with the school.
I don't know if it's going to bring closure to just demolish the school
Right.
because unless you
Right.
get to the bottom and provide answers,
It's just going to be a gaping hole
Yeah.
there for the
Right.
community.
yeah,
Right. Just nothing.
Absolutely.
That's how it feels like. Nothing's ever going to be answered.
Mhm.
Yep. It's just
So,
going to be, and just like those ladies said, they were spot on. They're like, yeah, it's nice for them to be gone, but at the same time, they're going to forget about us. They're going to forget it all.
They're sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah. And they're not wrong because, like, look at Sandy Hook. Sometimes when I ask people, I'm like, hey, you know, do you remember Sandy Hook? What's that? And I'll explain them real quick. Oh, no, I've never heard about that. Is that real or is that a movie? No, this is it's something that really happened in the news that was advertised.
You know, when you get rid of the documentation of it and the evidence of it, it makes room for it happening again in the future,
Of
and feeling as if it's the first time it happens.
And history is written by the victors.
yeah.
When you have all the power, you make the history. You edit it, you fine tune it, you pretty it up, or make it go away, or sweep it under the rug, or whatever, or delete it completely. And this is what they're doing. All this just reeks of, again, you know, the little touches they're putting in the news, such as the leaked footage, oh, the drama with the police chief, oh, the drama with this and that. It's just, once again, distraction. It's distraction while they sweep it all under the rug and get rid of it.
Because like the imagery of the guy using hand sanitizer while an active shooter's there, of course that's infuriating.
Right.
But that's a distraction.
Yeah.
They're going completely off of emotions.
That doesn't seem real either. I just can't imagine somebody doing that, taking the time to do hand sanitizer while there's a shooting going on. It seems unreal.
Yeah.
But it's just to make people, first of all, make them mad and trigger them like, how? You know, it's like so many different points of contention. The 19 officers standing down. Parents were trying to bust through the line and they saved their own kids and they got tasered and they got handcuffed and arrested. Like all these crazy stories that keep coming out of every direction. And I try to ask, you know, the handful of people that we talked to, like, hey, so did you have any kind of, since you live close, did you have any kind of vantage point of seeing like parents showing up frantic, trying to get into the school and officers like, you know, restraining them or holding them? Like the stories I'm hearing, you know, from mainstream media, they were being detained, arrested, like they're like, and they just seem utterly confused. Like they didn't know what was going on or what happened or why it happened. Like
It's funny because we can see that there are rituals, but there's still so many questions unanswered. And even when you're there investigating, it's hard because the police are in charge and they're commanded not to say anything. They're the ones that have the information, but they won't talk. And it's just like, this does not work. I mean, this is why we don't get to the bottom of anything. So,
right. But I mean, the police that were there, like I said, they were very touchy. All they saw, because like I said, even me walking around by herself, because me and Tara had kind of spread out, we're taking different pictures. I'm live on video. I had walked all the way from one end, like it seemed like the kind of the back part of it, as far as I could go. Like it seemed to be like maybe that was a teacher's back parking lot, all the way around the front to the corner by the brick sign, and then all the way around the other front, like I said, where the administrative offices seems to be, like the entrances. And there was one cruiser there, and it looked like nobody was in there. But then as I walked closer, you could tell the engine's on. They always keep the engines running. And as I got closer to like the office doors, again, I'm not gonna like jump or climb the fence or anything. I'm just on the sidewalk where I can be with my camera. And another cruiser rolls up and parks there. Like he's trying to watch me or he's trying to see what I'm doing. And we were wrapping up by then. I was like, let's just go. But like I said, as we were trying to walk away, I'm showing Tara that arrow pointing to the mailbox. That's when we heard the commotion with the guys, and then we just went from there. But it seemed like it was already kind of, I guess, touchy that I got too close to it. It seemed to be the front. The front of the school was the real trigger. Like I said, that second cruiser came, and he kind of rolled his windows down too. I don't know if he was trying to hear, because I'm sure if he saw me from a short distance, because it was dark, you could see I'm talking. I have a camera, like, hey, who was she saying or who she's talking to? Obviously, it looks like I must be doing a video. But I guess when those three guys rolled up, it was really a problem because they went straight for the front of the school. That seemed to be the trigger that really set them off. I'm like, what is it with the front of the school? Like, again, because you have that fence there, the fence that's like almost right up against the building itself with that black veil thing. But it was weird because the front of the school had better lighting. The light on the back end, you could see the light shining through it. So if there's not direct light there, it seems pretty solid, like that black shroud or veil that's on the fence. But light can come through it. It's kind of transparent. But then there's that secondary fence with, more mementos, more flowers, more banners. So it's like double fence. Like nobody's hopping the fence. And I think there's probably like motion detection stuff like around the perimeter, that one with the black stuff. And there's probably cameras there. And then plus you have it's being guarded all night. But it's something with the front of the school that seemed to set the whole thing off. Like they got so touchy and aggressive so quick. Because just the fact that guy has that video of the female officer just straight up swinging at him. And like when he showed us his phone, the whole screen shattered, the whole thing.
Wow.
Like she hit him hard. Like when we watched the video, like both of us like mouth open.
We heard it.
It was loud.
Yeah,
she swung hard.
She swung hard because we turned around right away from the sign and
we
walked
were,
right back over
the street. We had to be a good 50 feet away.
Yeah.
From her. We heard the crash first, and then we heard him yelling, "You assaulted me!" and blah blah blah. We made a U-turn. I'm like, "Oh, camera back on. Let's see what happened."
Yeah, I would love to hear her reason for doing that. I mean, that is over the top.
No. The two other officers quickly put her in the
they shoved her in the car. Remember in OKC when that team owner got shoved in the car? They shoved her in the car like that. Like real quick. She didn't come back out again. And then they kept like coming back and forth to like talk to her through the window. One kept getting in the car. They kept coming back and talking to us and the three guys like back and forth and back and forth. Like they were like, it seemed like they were kind of panicked and like worried.
Yeah.
Because even the questions we were asking, like when I asked him, I'm like, "You're the supervisor?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, and like not to be rude or disrespectful, like this is like the most ill-fitting uniform I've seen. Like the pants were hanging off. It's like 10 sizes too big. I'm like, "Where's your body cam, sir?" Oh, what? I'm like, "Officer, why don't you have a body cam on?" These other two officers, I'm like, I can't see the lady anymore. She's probably sitting in her cruiser, like scrubbing her body cam. Who knows? This guy has a body cam. Where's yours? Oh, mine broke, so I gave a guy mine. Okay, that's great. Why are you on duty? Oh, because, I have to work. I'm like, oh, okay. But you wouldn't come to work without your weapon, correct? Oh, no, ma'am. Well, why are you working? Why are you on duty with no body cam? You raise a good point. I'm like, I bet I do.
Right.
Is this your policy? Like, I'm like, how is everybody supposed to be protected? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. A citizen is not protected by your body cam. It's only for you. We have to protect ourselves, and that's why our cameras are out. Because they were, the first guy was, I guess, trying to de-escalate because they're asking, what's your name, what's your badge number? He didn't want to give it. Why do you guys have your cameras out? I'm like, why can't we have our cameras out? This is called First Amendment.
Right.
Why can't we? Why is it a problem to have our cameras out? Anyway, well, there's several of you too. So what? We're in a public space. There's no expectation of privacy in public. And they didn't like that very much, of course. But they seemed very worried and very remorseful, like on account of her actions. And it seemed like they just kept getting more worried the more the guys kept talking to them and the longer we stood there with cameras.
I also wonder about like the funding of the police department because like it's true he looked way too small for his clothes being way too big, and so yeah, it is an ill-fitting uniform. He doesn't have a body camera. He's saying that the other one
he didn't have a vest on either. Now that I think about it, the uniforms are usually pretty fitted, and you can tell when they're wearing a vest.
Right.
It's as if he was borrowing. It's as if he was borrowing
like
somebody else's
uniform or like
uniform.
And
so I think about like maybe it's a very ill-funded police department, but at the same time, I remember hearing before that what a good part of the town's budget does actually go percentage-wise. So I don't know where the numbers break down there, but.
Well, one of the things I told him too, I was like, "You don't have a body cam?" I said, "What do we pay your salaries for?" I said something, kind of smart to that effect. He said, "Well, ma'am, I don't agree with that." I'm like, "You don't agree with what? That we pay your salaries?" The taxpayers don't say, "Well, I just don't agree with that." I'm like, "You don't agree that you're a public servant? You don't agree that you work for us? Well, how about protect and serve? What are you protecting and serving then while you're violating rights stuff?" They just, of course, they didn't like it. He kept walking away back and forth, and I was more gentle about it. I'm sure he still didn't like hearing it from me, but the guys were heckling him pretty hard because, of course, they're upset. The one guy just got his phone smashed, and he was kind of like, "Officer, I need a new phone. I need my phone fixed." He's like, "Well, that's not happening tonight." I'm like, "Well, I mean, he got assaulted tonight, and his phone smashed tonight. Why can't that happen tonight?" Of course, we're pressing them a little bit. But, and I asked him a very direct question. I said, "Officer, I would just like to know as a woman visiting here, because I want to know if I'm safe visiting your little town, because it's not my first time here. And it's after dark now." I said, "It just seems like anywhere we go when, we travel all over to come to these events, the police officers, like, do they train y'all this way?" It's like instant disdain for the citizen. Instant. Remember, like
Right.
the cop in Buffalo. Remember the female officer?
The
wanted to roll
the
her
very
window
first
up
one
in
we
her face?
talked to, the first when we
Yes.
first got there, right? Yeah,
Wasn't she in vehicle 38, like right in front of the Tops entrance?
she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. Again, I mean, you could ask him a question, but it's like, why do they need so many people there to guard the crime scene at this point? Like,
A closed abandoned school at this point.
Yeah.
And it's nighttime.
and it's 2 months later, and we still don't have any information or facts. It's like, well, maybe we need to let the community come in here. Maybe they can get to the bottom of what happened. So,
Right.
but it's the same thing everywhere. It's just like when I was at the Kroger shooting on February 7th, there was 100 police officers in the lot. None of them could say anything. It's just they're always guarding the scene. But
Check this out, Zach. So,
Too bad those officers weren't there before the shooting happened.
right, exactly, and willing to spring to action. So the day, it was a Saturday that me and Steve and Erica went there. I remember saying something like, because I'm on the move. I've never been to Uvalde before. Driving around. I'm like, and I kept saying it. Like, there are so many cops because there's one path in. It's the 90 West from San Antonio. I'm like, oh my God, why is there a border patrol car like literally every single half mile? As I pull into town, we're approaching, the 83 highway that runs through there. I'm like, there are so many cops. I'm like, wait, as I read these cruisers, I'm seeing Fort Worth. I'm seeing Waco. I'm seeing Dallas. I'm seeing Richardson. I'm seeing all these different places from all over Texas. I'm seeing Austin. I'm seeing San Marcos. Literally highway patrol, border patrol, police from all over. But they said that they had all been dispatched and come down to help. Remember the water tower? And I guess it's their mascot, the Uvalde Coyotes.
Yeah.
That thing with all the cops, I guess uniting and coming down there. It's called Operation Coyote, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're gonna how long are you guys gonna collaborate together for?
Through the weekend.
Okay, very cool.
We're all the way at the border now.
Yeah.
Tara invited me to the border. I've never been here. I'm like,
that's fantastic how this actually worked out, because like I was trying to get to Houston last weekend.
We were trying to collaborate last weekend. Tara's coming into town. Let's see, how did this go? There's a place called Hamburger Mary's that they do drag shows. And remember, Zach, that Libs of TikTok channel.
Yeah.
They have the videos are disturbing. I saw them and they grossed me out as a mother. There's drag shows and they let little kids in. It goes that if you're under 18, you can attend if you're with a legal guardian. There's literally, when I'm saying little kids, like 4 or 5 years old, like sitting on their parent or looks like grandparents' laps, and here come the drag queens with like fake silicone boobs, like throwing them around. The kid and they have the kids waving money at them like strippers. I'm like, how inappropriate!
The kids putting
What's
money
funny
in G-strings.
Yeah.
What's funny is Portland has always had a cross-dresser club since I was a little kid called Darcel's, and parents would take their kids there, and it was funny. But it's gotten a lot more sinister now. What's going on? So
No.
It's very sexualized.
So the whole thing with Houston, what Tara invited me to, there's I believe it's a Christian-based group. I think her name is Kelly Nieder. She heads this organization. It's called ProtectTexasKids.org, something like that. She was organizing a protest. She wanted to protest this Hamburger Mary's place because they're letting kids into drag shows. So I guess part of the LGBTQ LMNOP community caught a hold of it. They're like, we're showing up to protest the Christian protesters. I'm like, what a hot mess.
Yeah.
Okay, Tara,
and so I saw this hot mess, a flyer for the hot mess, and I'm like, I'm gonna try and come in town for that, but my travel plans fell through, and so that didn't end up happening. But so we connected a lot over that weekend trying to plan that out. And Angel said that she wanted to go back down to Uvalde to do a follow-up, and then so I've been over in Yuma the past couple of days, and now switched gears to coming to Eagle Pass. So I hit up Angel yesterday and I was like, hey, I know this is super last minute, but I'm gonna fly into San Antonio tomorrow, and I know you mentioned wanting to see Uvalde, but that's on the way to Eagle Pass. You want to go with me for the next couple of days? And it worked out.
Yeah, worked out.
very cool. Very cool. So if people want to send you some gas money, can you put that message out there?
Ooh, Charmed One, I think you're on that. I believe my VenMo is GGMM049 the mayor of Gematriaville, charmed one. She's always on this. I'm so sorry. I can't. My phone, one of my phones is dead too. I can't look it up, but she's in there.
I'll make sure I put it in the
the.
description in the pinned comments. And Tara, you have one too as well.
Yes, on Venmo and also Cash App, I'm Tara PoAm, PoAm, and then Tara, Tara. So Tara PoAm on Venmo and Cash App. And guys, we greatly appreciate any financial support you can give to the channels. Of course, it costs money to be on the road between hotels and gas and travel expenses. So I'm crowdfunded, also self-funded quite mostly because I have a very humble channel. But yeah, so any financial support that the channel gets and everything, it does significantly help.
Okay, I will get those links.
And also, Zach, I'm just thinking about it. I'm kind of like the hamsters are running in the wheel, so to speak, as you said that when you ask, like, has anybody, like, did we cross anybody in the community that's asking, hey, like, we don't know what's going on, but we're interested in the truth. We want to get to the bottom of it. Maybe there needs to be like a rally for some kind of thing, like, hey, like citizens questioning unite. Remember the whole thing where they're having that outdoor church barbecue thing? It's right in Centertown Square. Like, I don't know, do we show up with signs like, demand, like, we demand to know what happened at the school? Why is the school being torn down? Why are there so many improprieties with the local police department? Why are there so many unanswered questions? Why does new information, that's conflicting or confusing keep coming out? Like, it just seems like the people, like I said, the passion is there. The more it's like the down low energy based on confusion. It seems like morning is there. They just have no direction.
Yeah.
They don't know like where to even start. That's really the feeling I get from it. So it's like, hey, do we go down there? Like, hey, like, you guys, whoever can show up, let's go to Uvalde, show them some support and kind of, I guess, help rally them, or like not steer them, but like, hey, like it's not just you guys, but this is near and dear to you. This is your community. Don't you want to know the truth? Other people, even outside your community, past Uvalde Texans, want to know, why are they tearing the school down? Why do all these things keep being leaked or keep coming out? Why is the police, because again, if we're going to go by the mainstream story, why are the police and the police department, why are they not being held accountable? Why are they, why? Let's start asking all the whys. Who's going to come forward and start asking all these questions? Because I'm telling you, that's really the energy, and is very prevalent there, even though it's only a handful of people. These people seem confused, and they do want answers. They just don't know where to go, where to start first.
Right.
Do you think it's going to hurt the investigation too? Because it's still an open investigation with the the Texas.
But what we do know is it's contrived,
Yeah.
and a lot of it's manufactured, but blending in with the truth. And the people who are truly hurting are the local people who live there. That's my only concern, is the people who live there who are actually suffering and hurting because of this. Or it's just, again, like I asked ladies, I'm like, how do you feel about that this event in your community, where you grew up, where you went to school, like, this is being used to fuel a propaganda, directed directly at the Second Amendment. They want the guns, and they're going to use events like this that have happened, that are going to happen, they're happening now. They're using it toward this. They're totally,
what motivation too are people going to have to find the truth when you already know the outcome is going to be the school being demolished?
Right. Or that nothing's going to be done, that it's going to be fought back and forth in court for, a couple years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and then they'll finally settle out of court. Who wants to settle for money out of court a decade later when their family members are gone and they have no answers, and the evidence of it, the structure is just going to be like Tara said, it's going to be destroyed and swept under the rug. Everybody's going to forget. Sandy Hook is what, 10 years later? And like I said, some people don't know what Sandy Hook is. It wasn't that long ago.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many things to think about. How long it'll take to even get any answers. And then you're right, there eventually will be a settlement for the family. And we'll probably get the headline about tens of millions paid out to the family. And then essentially that's the taxpayers paying for it. So the people are having to pay for their own government's mistake. And then the government never gave them any answers.
Or like Sandy Hook, they're going to create some kind of legislation or new law that's going to protect, that's going to protect or hurt your ability to get a gun, or the gun manufacturers, or whatever else, however they want to steer it. But again, what we know, these events are not going to stop, period. They're actually just accelerating, and that's, again, accelerating their forward motion of, it's so unsafe, it's so dangerous, we need to get rid of the guns, we need to take the guns. And it's going to keep going till what? Till we end up like Canada? Till we end up like Australia?
Well, the UK got lost their guns after Dune Blaine, and Australia lost their guns after another mass
Yep.
shooting type event.
Yep.
About the next plan for going down to the border, I'm just curious. I'll let you explain what you want to achieve, but here's what I see with the border, and then you can say whatever you want. Again, the Trump administration was mostly about building a wall, and we spent a lot of taxpayer money to build a wall that's not quite finished, and there's some holes in the wall, and it seems like now where the holes are, everyone's being funneled through. So, I mean, that's got to be in. You just all of this stuff to me is just all meant to manipulate both sides of the political aisle. There were a lot of people that didn't want the wall. The wall's mostly there now, but now it's not serving a purpose. And now there's never been more. I don't even know if you can call it illegal immigration. In a way, it's like we're legitimizing it. We're saying, okay, come through right here. We'll bust you to the city here. I mean, so is your main goal of being down there to document just how it's just a flood of immigrants and how we're facilitating the process? Is that what you want to show, or is there something else you're trying to get to?
I guess facilitating the process is not the right word to actually like capture it, but I mean, in terms of like having the stretch of the wall, we have stretched resources. The boundary is, our border is huge, so having a wall does help funnel people into certain points to then be processed for those who are claiming asylum. And so I feel like the mainstream media largely ignores the illegal immigration process that, well, it's not a process, hence why it's illegal immigration, but ignores this as an issue. And I would agree with you that this is something that's used by both parties and everything, because like for this to end, I mean, there's an incentive for people coming here, and so that a lot of that has to do with like jobs and earning money and having a better life that way. So like these corporations or companies or farms or whoever they are hiring, I mean, if you stop hiring, then that would cut the incentive. And so I'm pretty sure the people that are doing the hiring, they don't care which party they are, Republican or Democrat. So that would be like the root of the issue. So I'm here just documenting and understanding the incentives that people have. So I want to try and speak to the immigrants and see what are the flaws, how people are coming in. And it was interesting, like when I was in Yuma, hearing the places they're coming in from. So they had people coming in from Armenia, Georgia, Belarus, Russia. So to understand also like how are they, I heard that they were flying into Cancun and then going to Mexicali and coming over. So a lot of I mean, they said that they didn't speak English, though when I was talking to Border Patrol, they're like, don't fool you, they understand. But in at least talking to Border Control to understand the migration patterns that are coming, why are people coming here? And is I don't really feel like this is in a sense, yes, everything is made political, but it is a humanitarian crisis because it is the most dangerous immigration not process, but place in the world. Our southern border is extremely dangerous for people to be coming in through, but yet people are risking their lives completely to be coming into the country and everything. And I do think that, in a sense, like even Republicans would want they say like, oh, we don't know the type of people that are coming through. Yeah, you can't properly vet them, and they're having more runners now as well. But the countries that they are coming from, they're largely Christian or Catholic, in which case to have conservative values, that's also going to be helping the Republican side. It's not just helping the Democrat side. So there are a lot of people who are going to serve to gain from the crisis that's going on. But in the process of that, you have people who are risking their lives coming through. And then also it's going to be adding on more stress to our American systems. And then, for instance, my family, we're all immigrants. I'm first generation born here. But like what happens to the people who are going through the legal process? Like it's a feat to be able to be going through that. So it's not fair, but like what incentive does anybody have to be a law abiding person when you can just cut the line and go through illegally? So I'm here investigating those types of questions, not really extolling judgment, because like even on my channel, sometimes when I see some of the harsh comments come through, I'm like, I don't have any illness in my heart. When I look at people, I feel sorrow for them. But I think that we need to be highlighting what's going on, because a lot of people are, they don't know what's going on in our southern border. The cameras aren't here largely, and so as an independent person, I'm the one pointing my camera at it.
Well, very cool. So okay, so your goal, one of your goals tomorrow, is to try and interview some of the people coming across the border and see if they can tell you their side of the story. Okay. I hope that definitely happens. That would be very interesting. So, yeah. And what you just brought up just about the demographics of who's coming through, I've heard the same thing. So people from the same region of the world that's kind of war torn, if you will, a lot of people coming across the border from over there. So, yeah, I hope you can interview some people and hear the story. That would be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and it was interesting to like also like seeing, you know, it kind of defied some of my expectations in terms of even the way that some were dressed, because you would assume that, oh, are these people escaping poverty? And I mean, I wasn't able to find out everybody's like play-by-play reason for why they were coming, but you know, I basically live out of a suitcase. Some people were dressed way better than me that were coming across. So I mean, like that visual to me begs the question of like what is really going on here.
I'm glad you said that. I've noticed that in the footage that other yourself, I think Sav says. I was just looking at a lot of people coming across. I was like, man, they got better wardrobes than I do. So
Yeah,
yeah, I had
mean,
the same observation.
Even one person in Yuma, I couldn't help but like look at her because like she had a lot of plastic surgery and that was expensive. And so like I was just like kind of like turning my head like you know, because when my father is a communist refugee coming into the country, he crossed from Yugoslavia to Italy to get his political asylum. But like I mean, I hear stories of how like, you know, he saw that America must have food. That's why he wants to come here. But he crossed like barefoot and was like very poverty stricken when he had that experience to not even have shoes when he came across.
Sure.
So when I see people wearing Gucci and then and then some of the border guards were saying like, yeah, that some of them are dressed like ready to go out and party and everything. So so when I saw some of them really like dressed in Gucci with a lot of you know, surgery done, I'm like, wow, they look like they're living their best life more than me.
Right.
So and that was just a confusing visual. So like I want to, you know, I'm new to the border and I'll be, you know, hope to get better with experience of it. But those are the questions that I'm like, they're running through my head with just seeing this. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Well, I'm really looking forward to the interviews that may very well happen, and it could be very revealing. So I know it's getting late where you two are. Since you got work to do tomorrow, I don't want to keep up all night, but I'm going to get those links posted for everybody who wants to support them. And if you got some, again, you guys, every few dollars adds up. If a bunch of people just sent in, even if it was just $2, if 50 people did that, that'd be $100 more gas money. Everything adds up. So I'm going to get those links for them. Please do support them. They're out there doing the good work. And thank you for staying up late and joining us. And by the way, Tara, your friend Sav says, I would really like to debate her on her whole political stance, if you want to put that in her ear. So
okay, I'll see what I can do.
All right. Well, thank you both very much. And was there any last words that either of you want to say?
Zach, thanks for having me on your platform. It's always greatly appreciated. And again, I appreciate everybody who does financially support the channel. On the ground with Tara and helps. You know, like I'm a truth seeker. I hear you, Zach, when you're saying like I'm looking for my way and everything. It's true. I'm looking for my way, and as I'm looking for my way, I'm shining my camera in that direction so you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing.
I appreciate what you're doing. It's very helpful, and I wish there was more people like you. So thank you, Tara. And Angel, any closing words?
You know what I always say, Zach? Thank you for everything you do. And my thing is always, many people heard this from me. I never wanted to do any of this. I still don't really fully know how I kind of popped into this. But that, again, that desire is there. I always say I'm not built for this, but I feel like I have no choice. Because especially if it were just me, whatever, you know, everything will fall where it will. And if we have to live in, you know, zombie apocalypse, you know, post-world, but I have a child. This is her world coming up. I have to be loud for her. I have to keep looking for answers for her. I have to keep showing her, even if she doesn't fully understand it now. So I'm just looking for my own answers. And the thing I always say, I'm here to bear witness. The only view people have is what the mainstream media chooses to tell and show people on that stupid box that everybody's so hypnotized by and obsessed with. So if anything, even if I'm not the greatest decoder, even if I recognize patterns, first of all, I recognize lies, I recognize BS. I'm here to bear witness. So if somebody says, if I cross somebody says, hey, we need to take the guns, but look at Buffalo, look at Uvalde. Oh, well, guess what? I went to Buffalo. I went to Uvalde. What you see on the TV, that is not what's happening on the ground. It's not. And I'm bearing witness to that, or even like I said, I'm always here to bear witness and to hold the space and to tell people what I know and learn more and then share it. And if other people can do that too, you know, I love that video that you made last night, Zach. Like basically your millionth call to action. And I was reading some of the comments in the chat, and they're all valid. And I felt all those ways. To be honest, I still feel all those ways. Like some people are like, I don't know, you know, I've been following Zach for a long time. I follow his word. I know his word. I get it. I'm not good explaining numbers. It's basically, and you know, no disrespect, no shade, you guys, but it's like a lot of endless excuses. Like, I don't know all the numbers. I don't know how to explain it like that. You know what the key is? It doesn't matter how much you don't know. Just go out there anyways. Make it a point. Like my thing is like, the day I work remotely, I'm kind of spoiled. Like I have to, you know, have my hermit time to hide in my rock because the world is overwhelming. Knowing all this, it is overwhelming sometimes. So sometimes you need to kind of scale it back, protect your peace, protect your energy so you can stay charged enough to do it. But the times that I'm out, I make it a point to tell one new person a day out in the world about Gematria, about this work, what I know, what I see. If everybody could just even do that, so you don't have to be a master at it. I'm not the greatest decoder, but I know enough of this. I know patterns when I see them. I know lies when I see them. I know that when something doesn't feel right, doesn't look right, doesn't add up, and just even to plant a seed there and tell people, hey, I'm not a guru. I'm not the master. I'm not your messiah. But don't you feel like something's wrong? Yeah. Don't you feel like a lot's going on and we're being lied to and we're being fooled? I don't know about you, but I'm still mad. Not even me. My child lost 2 years of her precious formative years being in social isolation away from her peers. The few people, you know, she did meet because she was a new kid. We had just moved from New York to Texas. We're thinking we're getting to turn over this new leaf. Shut down all the schools. The few friends she made, yeah, that's nice. You texted me, but we can't hang out because, you know, my mom knows your mom. You guys don't wear masks, or you guys won't get the, you know what? Like, how cruel to everybody, but especially children. I don't play about children. I don't like seeing children hurt, especially my child. This world my daughter is growing up in, and to lose a whole solid 2 years of her life, of her young, fun years, I take personal offense to that, and I take this disrespect because again, if I left today, that's the only thing I'm scared of. I'm not scared of death. I'm not scared of going through trials. I'm not scared of any of that. I'm first generation on my mother's side in this country. I am scared for the world that is coming up for my child and all children, all young people. Yes. So whatever I can do, if I can plant a little seed, like, hey, you don't have to know everything, you guys. Like I said, people in the chat yesterday, you don't have to know everything. You just have to get out there and have a willingness to not only share, but also learn and keep learning. We're all perpetual students. Those of us who want to be, and we have that spirit of openness, we have eyes to see and ears to hear, just wanting to, you know, find other people out there. The one recurring thing throughout, you know, the community of truth seekers, it's this resounding thing, and it comes out of my mouth as well. Yo, I'm largely alone. I don't talk to my family. I don't talk to my old friends. I don't talk to the people I grew up. They think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They think I'm crazy. I've always been a black sheep. I've always been an outsider. So if we have a whole community here, there, and everywhere, there's no reason why we can't find each other and get together. When two or more gather. I'm not a religious person, but I'm a truth person. When two or more of us gather, it truly, it's magic. You saw OKC, even Buffalo. There weren't all that many of us, and some people came, some people went. Even me and Tara too here, and my daughter's in tow. But literally, who could have imagined that? We made a pit stop in Uvalde, and our 5-minute pit stop detour in the middle of rain to try to just stretch your legs, because I drove 2.5 hours this morning. I worked a full work day, picked Tara up, drove. I'm like, I'm just kind of tired. Let me stretch my legs. It turned to a 2-hour thing. And again, what we talk about all the time, the organic side. You cannot make this stuff up. You couldn't even predict it. You couldn't plan for it, nothing, but it happens. We all end up finding each other. What's the chances in little tiny Uvalde on this Disneyland movie set, as Tara calls it? We come across 3 guys who are about 2A, auditing the truth. Right. And they're like, yo, we'll come to your event. Oh, your friend Trey does 2A demonstrations? Hell yeah, we're all about that. We'll come. We'll check out his channel. Like, you can't predict this stuff. We always end up finding each other, you guys. If you can find even just a couple people and go out there and just be willing to talk to people, that's all it takes. So these excuses, and again, I'm not saying this to be rude or mean. I'm not built for this, and I'm a single woman, unattended, out here doing this. Tara's the same thing. So, and by the way, you guys just throw a lot of shade at Tara. Like, just chill. Everybody might have a little bit of a different way to do it, but at the end of all things, we are still all in the spirit of looking for more, looking for answers, wanting to know the truth. Bottom line, knowing that what the mainstream and the powers that shouldn't be tell us, that's not it. So just the willingness to be out here, unless you're out here too, you should do less talking and more doing, because it's not easy to do this. It's not.
Indeed, absolutely. And again, thank you two very much. I'm grateful for you being out there. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's footage. I'm definitely going to send you some gas money. And again, all the people out there, I'm going to get those links. It's going to be the top pinned post and in the description here. Give me 5 minutes. I'm going to get them up there. Please send them a few bucks at least. Gas is expensive, you guys. Time, gas, energy. I mean, and again, it can get dangerous out there too. You just never know what's going to happen. They're risking their own livelihood to get information out to people too. So thank you both very much.
Like I said, even to give an alternate view is priceless. To me, if I were on the outside looking in at us, I'm like, wow, that's not what the news says. Wow. Oh, that's what it looks like. Oh, wow, that's what Uvalde looks like. Because again, once it's out of the news cycle, out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So even just that, to me, like I said, even if it wasn't me doing this, I would find great value in that. So, and again, just to plug it, I know, we talked about it, TFR. Zach always does a great job of straightening up people's events. Again, if you're in the Texas area, even if you're not, you want to tune in, you want to support, 2 weeks from this weekend, July 30th, we will be in Austin at the Capitol building. Our PM Trey Vietnam will be here and his cousin doing a two-way demonstration. We'll be out talking to people about Gematria. And then the next day, Sunday the 31st, we will be in downtown Dallas. So if you want to come out, you want to support whatever, you guys, please, especially for our PM Trey and his cousin, they are making a 13-plus-hour drive all the way from Iowa just to come out and do this. So you guys, please subscribe to this channel. Please watch his videos. Please support in whatever way you can.
I'm flying for it.
Yeah, Sarah said she wants to come.
I'm coming.
And those guys that we met, they said they want to come because they're all about it. So, hopefully that'll be a good collaboration. And they seem to have, pretty decent channels. So they said that they're willing and they're excited to, hopefully we can collaborate. And again, open their audience to new information, as well as maybe open our audience to further information about like Second Amendment, gun education, all these different things. So that's what we're all supposed to keep doing. Sharing and being willing to learn.
And thank you, Yeah Right, The Matrix, for that donation. I think you meant to donate that to them. So I'm going to send you guys that plus some more later. And I'm sure Yeah Right, The Matrix, once he gets the links, he'll send you some donations too. He's about the most generous guy around. But again, you guys, don't donate to me. Donate to these two ladies. They're out there right now. And I am going to get those links. And again, I don't want to keep you up all night because I know you got a busy day tomorrow. So thank you so much. And I look forward to the next
Thank you, Zach, as always. Thank you for everything. Thank you to everybody in the chat.
All right. Have a good night. Thank you.
Likewise.
All right. Take care, all. Good night, chat. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. And again, look for those links. Again, for all of you guys who could donate $1 and you don't, please do it. I can understand maybe if you don't donate $1 to me, but how about the ladies out there, Pound and Payment in Texas? Look for those links in a minute. Thank you, Yeah Right. Yeah Right, The Matrix, truly one of the most generous people I've ever come across. And, it wasn't that long ago that the two women you saw on the screen, myself, Yeah Right, The Matrix, we were all out on the streets of Buffalo. That's how we met Tara. She was out there by herself. And now her and Angel are linked up. So very cool. Very cool. All right, True Seeker, don't stay up too late. And we'll be back tomorrow. And until next time.